Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. What's that? You're looking for ASCENT? Oh, well, you're in the right bloody place, mate, because here tonight on Koala Esports, we've got ASCENT Season 5 for you. Brought to you by AOE, of course. We thank them for putting up these awesome tournaments like this for you guys to enjoy and get yourself involved in. We've got two great games for you tonight. Division 6 and Division 5 should be fantastic matches. I'm Stranger, and if you were watching last week, you'll know his familiar face, but next to me is Papadaka.
G'day everybody, I am back on the mic, super excited to get into this. First off, if you've just joined and you're like, what the hell is Overwatch or what the hell is ASCENT? Well, it's a fun competitive tournament with a prize pool of $1,100 to be split among all the divisions. It's a 5-week tournament followed by 2 weeks of finals, if you can get there, with everyone split into higher or lower bracket divs. Massive tournament with 40 plus teams, and we're now into our 5th season, and it's fully funded by our lovely patrons. So thank you so much. Because of you, we have incredible tournaments like this one. And if you want to help fund more tournaments just like this, consider heading over to patreon.com/AOEsports. If any of this has piqued your interest, please don't hesitate. So go down below, join a Discord. Website's also there. So Stranger, we've got 2 games coming up. We've got Ableton Envy versus Lag Chimera. That's the Div 6 game. And then later tonight, we've got Bronze Johnsons versus Pride Div 5. What do you think?
I mean, these are going to be the bottom 2 divisions of our competition, but that doesn't mean that these players aren't worth their medal. These guys are going to be definitely putting on a show for us tonight, and I'm very eager to see. Usually the fun does come out of these lower divs. These guys are a little bit more interested in having a good time and trying out funny strats and that kind of thing. So hopefully tonight will really foster some great competition.
All right, well, let's get into our first 2 teams of the night, Ambition Envy and Lag Chimera. Ambition Envy is managed by Dr. Doomslice. It's also captained by Dr. Doomslice, and the coach is Vocalize, whom I know very well. So the tanks for the team, main tanking is Dr. Doom, and off tanking this dingo. They like to play Reinhardt and Diva respectively. As DPS will be Oni-chan on the hit scan, playing that Widowmaker. Then you've got Sui, Flex DPS, likes playing that Genji. Then keeping them all alive in that backline will be T. Derek on the main support, loves playing the loose, getting the boops, perhaps Stranger. And then last but not least, we've got Coggins, the flex support on the Ana potentially tonight. People to look out for on that team are Sui, love a huge nano blades apparently, and then Oni-chan, just clicking those heads. A little bit of info on the team. They formed the team 2 days prior to the ASCENT cutoff. Dr. Doomslice randomly met Oni-chan and T. Derek in comp 3v3 2 weeks prior to that. Majority of the team has never even touched a scrim, let alone participate in any form of tournament. This is like their first one, Stranger.
Good fun. That's it.
Coggins, however, has played in ASCENT once before. So they feel very out of their depth in the seeding weekend, and I'm sure in these tournaments that we've had going, they have a rather drastic SR gap between their team, with gold tanks, diamond master DPS, a plat support, and a diamond to master support. So it's everywhere, the skill range of this team. Love it. Their favorite thing to do each map is have a pre-game meeting. So look out for it. I don't know if they got cams or something like that.
Hopefully we'll catch one of those. I'm sure we will.
I'm sure. And their team captain, Dr. Doom, is the newest Overwatch and only bought the game this year in May. Wow, lockdown really does do things to people when you resort to Overwatch.
It was like we were saying though, these guys are in Div 6 and still we've got Masters and like upper diamond players here. So like I was saying, they're not here to mess around. There's still some top quality players in this group.
Oh, 100%.
Well, then moving over, we've got LAG's Chimera. These guys, probably a little more tight knit than that previous team there. Manager's going to be secret there. Our captain Ryan, which will be over there on that support kind of role there, and Swerved as the coach. So on the tank line, Reaps, you got to be, it's a hard name there to read, but it is said Reaps there on the main tank, likes that Reinhardt, left for Zen there to follow them up with the off tank role as well. Cross, how do you say that? You got this one right for me.
Crustlister.
Crustlister on that hit
Love that name,
scan.
by the way, man.
Love it. It's going to trip us up. It'll be fantastic.
Usually
With
it's
the
me
McCree,
stuffing up the names and calling people everything else
True.
under the sun except their actual name.
this is a nice change of pace
The
for
turns
us.
have tabled. Watch out.
Dottie there on the flex, DPS to back that up as well. And then Ryan, as we spoke about before, and Kane there on the flex support with the kind of Ana play. These guys used to be called Good Eggs, which is a great name as well.
Literally by yesterday, yeah.
They changed it yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, that's relabeled right there. Get the merch sorted out.
Just plaster it like on top of their old merch. Boom.
Yeah, the old sticker. That's it. Been together for 3 months, so like I was saying, a little bit more togetherness there. They're going to be like feeling that the team comp, and half the roster there has never played in a team before this, so these guys have kind of come together. So
yeah, from both sides, eh? Everyone is waiting in the lobby, so we won't hang around too much longer, but we can't go too much further without at least mentioning the map pool for tonight. Same as the other couple of weeks we've had so far. We start off with Control Lijiang Tower, then we move on to a hybrid of either Hollywood, Blizzard World, Kings Row. Then we're moving on to the payload maps of Junkertown, Watchpoint Gibraltar, and Dorado. And it is a best 2-3, so we may not need it, but we may also, like last week with all 10, but we got Temple of Anubis, Hanamura, and Volskaya as your 2 CP maps for tonight. And then we've got the Control of Nepal or Aces. And then if we absolutely desperately need it, Stranger, we'll hit up Ilios.
that will be one hell of a slog to get all the way to the end of that. But we've seen a few of these groupings go together right towards that end, like you're saying, 10 matches. So it can be a lot of Overwatch for one team matchup. And we've got to try and get through 2 tonight. So hopefully things will roll smoothly.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, we saw last week's a reverse sweep from our first matchup, and then a super, super close second match where it alternated between each team's taking the maps one after the other. It's always down to the line, and I'm not expecting anything different.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the first week we had Division 1 as well. Those guys were going backwards and forwards too. So obviously everyone's bringing their A game to this. When there's money on the line in a competition like this, the people will come and bring their full force.
Yeah, indeed. I think we saw on the envy side of Bastion come out before the heroes quickly swept away. So I doubt that will stay for too much longer. But the compositions, I'm sort of expecting, like what we saw sort of yesterday. Oh my goodness, last week. Weeks go quickly, okay? Was that sort of brawly style with the Baptiste. We saw lots of Bap actually, and then you got the Lucio. We saw lots of Tracer as well. Another big component to these teams, especially on the control maps, was that Symmetra. Some teams opted to play the Symmetra right up to the point and just bunker down completely, and then other teams you just had the Sim just to get that leg up out of spawn, then they'd make that switch to the Tracer. So it all depends on whether or not they're more of that divey or more of the, okay, we've got the point, we're just going to stay here. It seems like both teams are just going to run almost exactly the same comp. The only difference will be Swee on the Junkrat instead of Crustlister, who will be taking out the McCree.
Yeah, interesting. Similar comp, both going to TP straight to the point, so we get action instantly. It is absolute chaos on the point. We're looking for those squishy kills to start, and it's going to look really good for Chimera to bring in the kill on the main tank. And you can see how already it's giving them that dominance on the point, a Mentality Field to just try hold out, but it's not going to happen. Envy doing well not to lose too many kills here and keep the pressure going, but definitely Chimera has that dominance on the objective. A stray grenade to take a kill on supports, but they don't have it.
So because Kane's down, actually, Stranger, you might be able to aggress a lot quicker if you're Envy, although they seem to be taking a different route, which I'm intrigued with why you wouldn't just want to just rush it, because they didn't have that Baptiste for a little bit. Now that they're back, it's going to be another Echo fight. But I reckon it was just because Crustler was able to get a really good... Where are they going? They're having a little look around the map here, Stranger. Like, what's over there? Wow, looks like our side.
Oh, Shadow block nicely. Envy might actually have their chance to walk in on this. Great shield placement from the Symmetra though by Chimera. Tire through the lane. In fact, it gets blocked out though. Doesn't matter. The damage still coming out well for Chimera to just delete one after the other. They're trading back and forth. The Shadow hits, but they end up going down. Doom not going to be happy about that. Does it change the tide though? Kane going in DPS mode, but ends up getting picked finally. I mean, they have found the kills, but still the aggression is on. Envy, they really need to find the convert here.
They do. It is a bit back and forth, but Envy finally get the cap. 56% though were able to go to Chimera, but that was that was so unfortunate from the Junkrat's tire getting taken out so quickly. But man, did Oni-chan just burn down everybody on that point. Now that we're back, we've got a couple of ultimates here. We've got the Crustlister on that McCree with the high noon. They got instantly to point, and I don't even know if they're expecting it.
The Noon's clean as well to clean out one. Shadow to try and do something with it, but unfortunately Reaps gets dealt to in the trade. Doesn't matter. I'm going to get this wrong. Crustlister? Chris they get the point in the end. Well done.
They just get the point. Nice double boot though from Ryan. I gotta give massive props to that. That was really interesting positioning there from Envy. They decided to hold out away from the point despite Chimera clearly wanting to keep Dottie on the sim, just because you've got that shield already ready to go. Here comes the bomb coming out on point. It doesn't pick on anybody.
Good placement, just enough to get one. Could have gone into the point and been a little better, but it doesn't matter. They found the damage they needed to get back onto this objective. Even with that sim wall up, they just kind of burst straight through it, so it wasn't much of a problem. They'll clean up the point here.
They do. Is it almost worth, Stranger, for Dottie now to switch off? You've tried to use the wall, didn't really work out there, and now it's going to be quite hard to be able to take the point. The issue, though, is Envy's actually removed themselves from the point again, so if they can set up that TP, they can completely go past this defense. Look at them go!
Oh, they kind of saw it happening, went into the move early, but that Tilly's just so instant. Multiple stuns down onto Reaps, but in the end survives it. The Shadow gets blocked out as well. Oni-chan keeping the pressure on them though. Reaps will fall without a main tank. It's going to be a little harder for them, and you can see as the picks come out, still great play by the Cowboy. This Diva Bomb on the point zones out and finds two as well. Beautiful play by them.
Last fight here, and Sui has the tire ready to hopefully explode. I mean, you've still got Kane, who will have the amplification matrix to be able to pop and hopefully get the tire. Early high noon coming out does actually pick up ton.
Yeah, Derek had to get on that point to just make sure the overtime triggered in, but the noon dealt to them quickly. This has got to be critical to get back on here and take this back, but unfortunately they've lost a couple already. Envy just struggling to get past those turrets. They get taken down. Sui on their own can't take out a whole team, and now the overtime being trickled away. They will get a bit of stall, but it's not enough to make it happen, and a great first round for Chimera here.
I think if Envy just played the point a little bit more than they did and not hold, especially where they did as they were trying to come through, I think they would have had much more of a chance, because once Chimera were on the point, you had the sim just setting up all the turrets pretty much immediately. Then you had the McCree where he wants to be, as they're coming towards him. It was just so perfect, especially for the likes of Reaps, who just had that Shatter locked and loaded, and the amplification matrix too, made it very hard for Envy to push back onto them. So, I mean, you can definitely play it a little bit differently, but we have seen a sim from Dottie again, and why not? It worked so well last map. Although on the other side, we've now got Oni-chan and Swede taking up the dive. They'll be diving with Dr. Doomslice and this Dingo, who are now on the Diva Winston instead.
Yeah, the good comp mix up. They got to dive in, but Sim has the setup already, which is going to make it a little harder than normal. And as you can see, it's already going pretty badly for them. Dr. Doom going to get taken out, and they're just looking for as many trickles as they can to slow this push, and it will work out for them.
Yeah, Chimera just were able to take that point so quickly, and poor Dr. Doom jumps into a Reaper's face. I mean, what are you going to do in that case? So they've got to really think about ways to engage here, because they can't just dive on top of the team as a whole. They've got to somehow split it off, and this is where like Ball can actually come into great effect, or you just farm up Coggan's Nano, and then as they dive in, like Winston's trying to, it doesn't blow up. That's a really good pick.
Shuts down the remake out of that, which is very efficient. They look to take another couple of kills here, and they'll do well. The wall comes up. Only-Chan blows themselves to smithereens. Unfortunate for them, but it doesn't matter. Reaper's still doing a lot of damage. Does get rid of Doom Slice, and that's a couple of kills they need to just keep a hold of this. Although the anti-nade's well positioned on the Reap, trying to do it alone is hard. Support's really going to have a hard time. Sui again left on the point alone to take out 3. They're always last man standing, but not going well for them.
No, left of Zen. That was such an unfortunate bomb as well. The massive shield from Dottie came up as the bomb was coming from Oni-chan, stuck on the shield and just blew the guy up. Reaps, though, has Shatter, whereas on the other side, I guess you've got Nano, but Sui doesn't even have Blade yet, so they're just going to nano Winston.
Oh, but in the meantime, Reaps just shatters 3 of the team and cleans up the bag. Doom's going to have to do a lot with this ult to balance the field, and right now struggling to even get one off the edge. They've absolutely timed that perfectly and just win out the fight.
Reaps, what was that? That was what we call a fatty shatty. That was massive. All 4 of them in the back line. Derek couldn't even do anything to stop that one. Oni-chan now, they have a massive compositional switch up. Is it too little too late though, Stranger? 80% remaining. They'll be taking a point fast. Sui does have that blade. Although I think they're actually going to go white room. They're kind of undecided. No, they're going on point, but here comes. What was that?
Instant boot pressure. Great use of the Reaper ult. This blade has to do a lot, and Immortality comes up to just make it not so much fun. The hammer to the face from Reaps shuts down whatever's left in the tank, and that overtime trickles away nicely. Beautiful play.
Great ready for that boot.
It's so ready.
So ready. Read like a book. Well played there. And we see the huge shadow from Reaps. 4 people in that back line. My goodness.
You can see the timing. They knew. They saw the nano go on. No, you know what? That's it. Boom. Straight through the back line.
3, 4.
Clean play.
So clean. Really well played there. Now it is Envy's pick. What are they? So it's loser's pick. Hollywood, Blizzard World, or Kings Row. Based on how we just saw both teams play there, I mean, Chimera's looking so strong. Perhaps. Look, the dive is not necessarily a bad comp to play on any of the maps, except you can argue that Kings Row is a little bit harder, but again, Kings Row is one of the best maps in Overwatch, so simply because it allows so many comps, and you can dive on that high ground if you want to. And look, it's not impossible to run that Winston Diva composition, but I think we'll probably see both teams here go for that Kings Row, and then I mean, you might see a Dottie on the sim again, just like for rotational purposes more than just getting on the point. I mean, last week we saw, I think it was Good Snakes that went no, it was SGU. They went all the way around the back of Kings Row and didn't really care what the heck anybody else thought of them on the point. Like, no, we're going to do our own thing. And that's perfectly possible, in fact, faster with the Symmetra. So we could see that, but I think more than likely, we'll probably see that Reaper come out. We might see even a Mei come out on Kings Row, especially on defense. We saw a lot of Mei, in fact, on Kings Row, simply because you've got those really tight choke points to really bottleneck the Reinhardts up. And especially when you're trying to stop someone like Reaps, who's just shattering your backline as soon as you dive in, it might be a shout to take the Mei.
Yeah, I think they just played it out perfectly. They've just found every opening they needed to. The timing on point, that shadow was just something else. I mean, I can't wait to see that in the highlight reel. That's for sure. And then, like we saw Envy, I mean, they had blades, they had this, but there just was nothing there to give them the backup they needed and really just finish things off. So the ult economy use, the strength and the timing of them definitely going in the advantage of Chimera there. Let's see if they can carry that through out of the control maps, though.
Yeah, look, everybody needs their warm-up maps, and and perhaps that was Envy's map to warm up. I did make a mistake there. I did say it was Chimera's map to pick. It's actually Envy's, so my apologies on that one. But yeah, like I said, it's probably going to be King's Row, but Hollywood, like that is also something to shout out, because Hollywood's another. It's warmed up on me, Stranger Hollywood. I didn't used to really like the map, but now I don't mind defending it, and I of course don't mind attacking it. You'd take attack over defense pretty much all the time, but Hollywood really allows. We haven't seen any poke, so maybe we might see Envy on the poke, but we haven't seen much dive, so we could see that more on Hollywood too, because you've got so many places, especially second point. First point's a little bit harder. You might play that more brawly style of dive.
Yeah, I have to agree. I do think that these guys probably prefer something like the King Row Hollywood kind of style. It's they're both very popular maps, I'll admit. I don't think we'll see a lot of Blizzard World maybe in this competition.
Look,
we've seen maybe one.
It's not a bad one. It's not the worst map. But
it's just not the best.
It's not the best. Like, yeah. Anyway, we are moving on to King's Row, of course, Stranger. And we're going to see how these teams are going to approach this. We also see sometimes on the attack you get a Widowmaker just for the cheeky pickoffs, because as obviously a sniper, you click those heads once, a massive door can just open off that one pick. You don't see it very often, and I cannot remember the team for the life of me, so I do apologize, but in the Overwatch League there was actually a freak 1 in 500 maps. This probably works, but picks off the Baptiste. Bap is the biggest pick that you can get in these compositions that we've been seeing lately. So because of that, you're just able to storm roll through them all. It seems like we are going to see those Mays, especially coming from Envy, who are the defenders on this, at least the first round. Then we got Swee that will be on the Reaper, and Oni-chan, he's going to take the May up.
Yeah, I mean, interesting decision as well, because I mean, wouldn't Chimera, they would have picked to attack first here, which definitely they want to set the record. I mean, is this, are we going to see one of those team meetings sometime here? I mean,
yeah, look at them. Look at them go. They're underneath the statue. They're talking tactics. On the other side though, we've got Chimera, sorry. We've got Crustler. There we go. The Widowmaker trying to get that little peek. Probably going to switch off either to the Reaper or to the May. On the other side though, Dottie, there you go. They are going to take the Symmetra up and rotate perhaps, or just go straight onto the point and just try outlast them. Of course, they got both Baptiste, so it depends which Baptiste has to use the immortality field first. Usually dictates the fight.
Yeah, Krasler has to get that shot to really open this up for the team.
Oh,
and exactly that happens. Beautiful shot, getting rid of a huge target as well. Without the May wall, they know they can be a lot more aggressive. You can see as Chimera roll onto the objective. Now they have presence. It forces Envy to move back in, and look at that. They find their pick, getting rid of the main tank. Second tank gets demeched out. They're just pulling them apart one by one. Reaper's not able to find the kills there, unfortunately. And Sweet's got a lot of pressure on the shoulder. Another pick to be found, and they're still keeping that great aggression on the objective. The convert will start to happen in a beautiful push here out of a single pick.
Yeah, there you go. Crustler got that pick. No, wait, Crustlister. There we go. Got that beautiful pick onto main. Like you said, walls. And because of that Reinhardt, Dr. Doomslice just was not protected whatsoever. And in the meantime, you had Dottie that was just burning down what was left of Dr. Doomslice's shield. So now for the next fight, left of Zen already almost has the bomb that they can use. Other side, though, you've got Coggins that will have the defensive the application matrix, and now that's a beautiful wall. Oh my goodness, it's burnt down.
Great defensive wall as well from Dottie, just outside the other side of the 4K monitor. It's going to protect a lot of damage. It got good bomb breaking through though, and they get the kills there from Sim as well to just keep this pressure on, and that's enough for them to just keep the momentum.
No, they are. And then with Crosslister popping those sights, it will force the team of Envy just to hide, especially the Baptiste. You really don't want to lose that. But you also do not want to lose this as Dingo. That really hurts. That's no more DM, especially with something like Crosslister, who's just been clicking those heads, so nobody now can really get on top of them. Now it's all down to, will they even touch actually Stranger? I'm having a look, but it seems like they just want to play third point here, Envy. That's a really tough decision, but I guess you don't want to lose any more players.
Bit of a weird half commit here. They don't quite make it. Blizzard committed to the fight, does manage to get a bit of a freeze off. They find the kills. Dotty's still pumping out the damage though, getting rid of the Mei. Takes a lot out of it. They commit another ult. And the Demon Bomb into no one, unfortunately, so that's unfortunate for them.
Was perhaps a remake bomb, but if not, then that's a really unfortunate one to lose. Oni-chan though has switched over to the Ashe instead, just to contest Crosslister, who's now switched over to the McCree, because it is a little bit closer range. It's harder to get those picks, but that shatter's huge.
Taking Doom right to the floor. There's the beat drop to keep them going. The other team's going to have one as well. So now it's huge health bars versus huge health bars. Good bomb into the back. Unfortunately, not connecting as they would have liked. Another window, though, gives them a lot of damage here. And Envy looking to hold it. But, I mean, the cart here, so close to the spawn point, it's not that much value committing all these ults in that.
Look, they actually they did have to use both support ults there, but in the meantime, they were able to build up Dr. Doomslice to about 60%, able to get some really good Fire Strike kills. So he's actually leading the charge in terms of shatter rates just purely because of the amplification matrix. So coming into this next fight, I mean, Reaps is going to have to really look out for that sort of stuff. Dotty as well is actually finding it really hard to get value now, simply because you've got Oni-chan just poking away from a lot further away. Sweet.
Ooh, does manage to get the one, but then taken out. Great shatter. That gets rid of Reaps for them and completely shuts down this push, and they know it. They have to back out. Looking to trickle Baby Diva, maybe? No, that Telly saving them nicely.
Yeah, just got out in time, and Left of Zen also was able to get a nice little late pick onto T. Darrick that will force them back, because now Ryan can control the flow of the fight, speed boosting the team of Chimera in. Oni-chan falls. No.
The bomb into the back line to try and protect, but there's immortality fields up to protect all. Plenty of walls to hide as well, so not enough value out of that, unfortunately for them. Good shatter, the shield to come up as well to prevent, and the window, so you don't want to hang around there. That window's right on the sim barrier. That's going to be an absolute pain for them. That sucks. Pushes them right back. They actually didn't lose many kills there, but they have given up a lot of space, and Doom knows it. Trying to get back in. Great bomb placement, stalls the cart. Reaper with the ult, but it's blocked out with the stun. Not going to get that. Unfortunate timing right there. The beat drop gives them great sustain, and Dr. Doom drops the hammer again to just say, this fight is ours.
Slamming the lid onto that fight, also picking up about 3 members there. So what really helped that fight there was T. Darrick was able to hold that beat just that little bit longer, and because of that, by the time T. Darrick got to beat the team, Chimera was only about 300 with shields, and then you also had Oni-chan popping that bob, just not really doing too much except contesting and being that sort of 1,200 HP presence. Now you've got to watch out though, because you've got Crosslister popping that noon.
With the Telly behind, finds the 2. Look at that great sim Telly. My goodness, they follow up with a Diva Bomb as well to just get that added value. They want to take this all the way to the end. That was some huge team play. You absolutely love to see it. Darrick has to try and desperately get back on. Does get the boot off, but no one there really can hop on in the time. Doom does manage to hop on at the last second, but the shatter makes it completely impossible for them to sustain through the fight. The kills will come out left, right, and center, even with the stall, but it looks like they've absolutely got this in the bag.
And they finished with time as well. 1 minute 38 seconds. That's really crucial in maps like these where you can get very aggressive attacks, but also very, very well-managed defenses and, get that team to overtime. But because of that now, it will guarantee Chimera able to get another attack if Envy is up to the task of pushing it to the end. And look, they definitely can make those plays, but man, that TP with the McCree was just so out of left field that nobody on Envy, and even us casters, we weren't expecting those kind of incredible plays. But you can see why Dottie stayed on that symmetry. You can do those sorts of crazy TPs. You can even get a bomb through there if you can get that. Oh my gosh, my brain. I have a sentence in my head, but it's not coming out. Anyway, we've now switched it up. You've got Envy on the attack there, opting for almost the same comp, a little bit different though this time around. Stranger Oni-chan will be going on the Widowmaker, whereas Chimera, they're going to go Dottie on the Mei instead.
It's kind of a mirrored up comp here. Almost.
No, indeed. I mean, you got Crosslister because they're expecting for Envy to come on top of them. So as soon as you get a wall from Dottie up, you can get that flashbang onto the Reinhardt shield as he's trying desperately to protect himself. And because of that, that's when the whole team can just barrage in on them. So it is now almost exact echo of each other. But you do have Swee on that Reaper instead. So as soon as Swee is in your face, you better watch out.
Gets a good Mei wall off to try and split the team, but they didn't really have many people there to capitalize on the split as good as it was. Another attempt at it, great D-Mech. They look like they could have some presence here though, Envy. Getting the kills, great Mei wall, really puts Reaps in a tough position. Their shield taking a beating, gets a pin out of it nonetheless, and a shatter attempt, but blocked out by the shield. Doom says no, you're not having it this time, and they should be looking at a quick cap here. This is good for them.
This is really good for Envy. They started off really strong. Reeves got a very early shatter though there, but beautiful block from Dr. Doom. That was a pure game of reflexes right there. And Coggan's keeping the team alive so much. Already amplification matrix. There is a little bit of a stall though. On point from left of Zen, but because of that, it's going to take a little while for Chimera to get themselves together with that late sort of stagger pick. Now now the cart will be progressing. Dr. Doomslice has that shatter pretty much locked and loaded by now. Both DPS as well on the side of Envy. Other side, you've got Crosslister with that high noon ready to pop, and unfortunately we won't get any sims to the left, but we might get Maze to the right.
Great split off again. They managed to get a D-Mech out of it. What a shatter though from Reaps. The follow-up from Sweet, but the immortality field's up. Doesn't matter, still managed to sneak out the kill. They're following up with their own damage as well. They don't just need the ult to get the kills, and the pressure is real as they continue to keep it going. That means the cart can just roll on. Envy getting a lot of space out of this.
You've got T Derek even breaking down the beat on cart there, and again a late pick onto Ryan, and because of it's the Lucio, it's going to be very hard to dictate speed of fight. You can't just speed the Reinhardt past walls anymore. They're going to have to be super careful. And there's left of Zen gone too. That's 2 picks down. Either they take this fight really slowly here, Chimera, or they do what Envy did and kind of just let them have it for the time being and then make the attack.
Yeah, that Mei wall really did make the decision for them. Sweet trying to sneak in that back line as well. See what value they can get. And look at how much pressure they're putting on them all the way back to the corner. This card's basically just walked up alone most of the match here. I love Sweet's aggression to the back line. Reaps having to split the shield direction there. What a pin from Dr. Doom. Oh my goodness, right to the back line. Does manage to get traded out for it, but what a flex.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's space making, you know? But I mean, look at those ultimates. I didn't even have to really spell it out. Chimera, this is their fight to win. All 6 ults, they're popping Mei now, but unfortunately, really well played there actually by Envy. They just backed out, and not just backed out, but also got a pick from it. They'll be able to re-engage, but the shatter.
Reaps with a great shatter. Diva Bomb into the back. All blocked out nicely by Crosslet. Lovely high noon to take out their main tank. Envy going to have a harder time here without the shield, but they've got that damage output. Look at them go. 2 kills for both the DPS here. Dottie's trying to hold of what they can. Immortality field of no use to them. Still stalling somehow with that tiny health bar. Great play. High ground from Kane. Ends up getting dominated. Unfortunate. Beat drop here will give them a lot of sustain to just try and stop this push with what little they have. The freeze is huge though. Sweet with the aggressive ult to keep the pressure on. They're just going back and forth. Great pick there from Dr. Doom to clear a huge problem. Shatter, unfortunately, only getting the one. Does manage to get the kill out of it. Oh, that Diva Bomb could have been something massive. The remake gets the kill to find them this point. 0.01 again. Both teams got stalled at this exact amount of space by a wrecking ball. What are the chances of that?
What are the chances indeed, Stranger? And this is really good. This is buying time. If you're Chimera, you want it to go on as long as possible here, but Dr. Doom Slice is having absolutely jack of it. There's the Blizzard as well, Stranger, coming out as Dr. Doom is just swinging away, and they are able to cap with 3 minutes and 36 seconds on the clock, a whole 2 minutes faster. And like I said, everybody loves the attack. It's so, I'm not, wrong word to use would be easy, but it's just a lot, I guess, easier, for lack of a better word, to know that, okay, all we're going to do is hold W, and that, you know, that's our plan. And it's a great game plan, especially when it comes to King's Row, when you're playing that sort of brawly style. But it is harder when it's the defense of, okay, when do we aggress? When do we use ultimates? Do we use them, you know, preemptively before the attackers can come onto us? Because usually that's the defenders, that's what the defenders are thinking about. When do we use our ultimates? Do we use them as the fight's about to start? Maybe catch the Reinhardt, you know, out of whack. Or do we wait and reactively use our ultimates? It's like, okay, Maze ulting, now let's shatter, you know, that sort of play. So it's harder for the defenders, whereas the attackers, of course, all you want to do is you want to press W and you want to get right in their face, especially when you have supports like the Lucio. It seems we are going to get a little bit of a switch up here, Stranger. We've got Kane and Ryan are so much sustained now if you are going to take this Ana. The reason you take the Ana is, yes, the heals, but more for the bio nades to stop such long fights happening, because obviously once that bio nade hits, no more healing for that Reinhardt. You've seen a Zarya. There you go, Zarya from this Dingo. And now we see Chimera's second attack.
Telly to the point, just for the turrets there. Gets shut down nice and quickly. Look for the rotate around the pillar here, because it gives you a little bit more freedom. Even with the May wall coming up, they still feel quite a lot of control. Pin attempt was good from Doom, but unfortunately they get traded out. Well played and great team focus there from Chimera. Will just net them this point super quickly.
Yeah, you've got a minute on the clock here, though. So if you are Envy, you just want to bank those ultimates. Do what Chimera did and gather as many as you can. Wait for Swee, who will unfortunately get that bad spawn. But against against your thinking, you've got to wait, because if you don't, then you'll keep getting staggered over and over and over again. So this is about the mental battle of defenders. Like, it's okay to let them have space if we can win this one team fight, because we've got 30 seconds remaining here and a couple of ultimates coming up, but mostly on the side of Chimera.
And they're going to try and make good use of it. The shatter goes down, but it's protected well by Dr. Doom there. So they're not going to get a lot of value out of this window. Ends up going down without the kills found. So positioning good for Envy. They know when to back up. Let's see what they can do with their own. Wow, the placement from Dr. Doom. He slides on in. Blade to follow up with the Blizzard on the objective. Just puts the pressure down to Chimera at the last few seconds. Overtime now for them, and they've only got 2 on the point. That is a rough place to be for them. The stall really just not going to happen at all, and the timing from Envy there was fantastic.
Oh, beautiful wall. Beautiful wall there from Oni-chan as well, just stopping that Lucio last second touch and Dottie too. They did exactly what I was hoping they would do. They waited. Yes, they had to wait about 49 meters, as we can see, but it was so worth it, because instead of stopping them on maybe last sort of section of the streets phase, if not worse, you've now stopped them just before they didn't even get around the first corner. So really, really well played there by Envy. Now they're on the attack. Chimera, they did a pretty good job on their defense last time, but Envy, man, their aggression, especially to take first point, was really good. And Chimera had those really unfortunate staggers there, Stranger, where, you know, you had his left of Zen that was a bit left out of next fight, and they just kind of had to really wait for that. So if you can reel those last little stragglers in, or just die a little bit faster if you do lose this first point, which obviously you're really planning not to do. 3 minutes and 36 seconds to defend point A, which has been classically fallen in the first fight every single time. And then to come back as well as defenders and stop the cart right there. They're going to have to take a leaf out of Envy's book if Chimera hopes to defend.
These guys, both teams, very strong at pushing, like you're saying. Chimera has to basically hold point one if they really want to have the confidence of holding this off.
Yeah, Dotty's on the sim as well, so it is going to provide a little bit easy for Sui to be able to go in a little bit harder and faster. You don't have to worry about that tree that we've been seeing.
Envy being given a lot of space on the point, but a good kill onto Dr. Doom takes their shield out. They trade reach though, so shield for shield. Both of the main tanks out of the fight, reducing a lot of protection. They get rid of Dotty as well, which is a lot of DPS removed for Chimera here. They can't afford to lose too many more people if they want to hold this off. I love how Envy are not overcommitting to the space and the point, just having someone on there enough to just start getting that foreman. They know it has to pull them back into the point themselves. It's very good play from Envy here. The spacing is great. Beat drop down, even with the shield up. They still have man advantage on the subjective, and the blade will be committed to the fight too.
Okay. Sweet, like, watch me flick, watch me swing. I never needed this. Chimera though, they're down, but they're certainly not out. Ryan didn't have to beat that last fight. But again, Envy is able to now just push up, make that space known. And here comes the Nano though. This could be a lot of aggression actually.
Oh, gets the shatter, but pinned out. They have the Nano to get the sustain. Big blizzard to come up though from Envy, and it manages to catch 4 out. They find a lot of damage output from the whole lot. The cart's right here. Grav manages to pick out one Reaper on the point with the ult. Cleans up the single kill they needed to probably hold this off. Beautiful finishing touch there. And they should be able to just hold this if they can keep themselves going here. There's only a few squishies, but the spawn advantage for Envy really does give them so much power. Wrecking Ball to get back in, reaps, no shield, has to make sure that those guns are doing a lot of damage. They lose the mech as the rest of Envy roll back onto this point to look as menacing as they do. Reaps so much pressure to try and sustain and find some form of kill. Finally gets taken out just as the rest of the team arrives. The cart rolling so close there. They have to get on for the touches, which puts them out of position, and they get taken out. Great play by Envy.
It's evened up. There you go. Envy just needed that warm-up map, like I said in Lijiang Tower. Not everybody can just jump in cold, and Envy proved that. The ball was pretty much in their court almost the entire time. Chimera there had a really strong first attack. They finished with a really good time bank, and it's just, they fell apart, unfortunately, between the defense, having those sort of late stack of kills. And I mean, Oni-chan, man, that guy just popped the heck off on that Mei. The blizzards were great. The walls always just got reaps into really bad positions, and Kane can only heal so much. So really well played there. Now it's flipped. It's Chimera's pick to see where we should head next.
Yeah, man. I mean, Envy as a team there looked a lot more uniform than they did on the first game, for sure. There was the backing out from the Mei ult. You saw them communicating well there. They just said, nah, this is not our fight. We'll come back in a second. And stuff like that. That's just the difference between, the win and the loss. You just know when you don't need to commit too hard to something. Just let them have that little bit of space. They don't get anything out of the ult, and then you come in hard afterwards. So very well played by them in terms of the team play there.
Yeah, we saw that a lot, didn't we? Like with the Mei, the Mei from Dotty, that blizzard that came from the third point. We saw Oni-chan immediately back out and then get that headshot. You saw it as well with Amplification Matrix too. So Chimera, though, they are going to take Envy to Junkertown this time, and we did see Crosslister is a very good head scan. They got the first pick on King's Road, and I mean Junkertown. Need I say more? Very, very open, and just this is just Widow, Hanzo. You can play Ashe as well, especially if you get the Mercy involved. It is just their playground on this map.
Yeah, very open lines of sight for those Widow players for the Ashe. I think even the McCree can work, but obviously that range from is much better from the other characters. So
yeah, and okay, composition wise, we could see Poke on defense. It's especially, I mean, if you do play that, then if you're attacking as Reinhardt, it's actually very hard to get on top of a Poke team on this map because the sight lines are so long that by the time that you're close to them, then already your shield's burnt, your healers have already had to pop their immortality field or whatever, and by the time you get on top of them, all your abilities are wasted. So Poke is definitely viable, and it seems like they're going to do it. Actually, the double shield Dr. Doom Slice on the Sigma, and then this Dingo's taking the Orisa spot. Oni-chan, of course, with the Widows, so look out for the 1v1 between him and Crosslister. Ryan will be damage boosting, yes, Crosslister? There's not too many people to really damage boost here. If Crosslister can hit the shots, then it's just one and done, but perhaps just that having that res available there, but maybe even a Zen would have been a little bit better just to poke down those shields. But anyway, here we go with the defense from Envy, the double shield with Sway actually on the Genji too.
Yeah, Dottie already sneaking around to look for where the cracks are in the set. Meanwhile, Kane to fall from some aggressive play by Sweet. The Widowmaker's taking pop shots at each other. Sweet's going in to get that close range fight. Ends up getting punched in the face and told to go back home. So great starting play there from Crossler, who's keeping up the aggression. The Widow battle will happen sometime soon. Someone will connect with the other. Wrecking Ball from Reaps this straight onto Oni-chan's body as well to keep the pressure up and not let them get set up in that line of sight.
Yeah, it's all about positioning here. Oni-chan is now going hard right, looking for those picks, but look, it's a 1v3 battle over here, stranger. No, it's a 1v5. That was never going to last too long there. And now you're just going to have to really back out, especially with Crosslister landing a brutal headshot to Sway. Incredibly well played there. Such good aim here, stranger. It looks like the car is just going to roll through point A unless they can get a really cheeky pick.
Here's the 4K monitor used to try and just hold the point off at the last moment. Dottie playing nice and close. They spread right back here. Great positioning, gives them heaps of room to work with Chimera, but unfortunately they don't hit the shots, and that leads to most of them going down. Lots of pressure onto this hit scan Widowmaker here, so a bit of space game back from Envy, but they have to hold it in the open now.
No, yeah, exactly. And this is where Crosslister can kind of go crazy. And the bombs too. Forced out Transcendence actually came at a really good time too because it forced out Flux. Crosslister, there we go. That's the first 1v1 duel complete. Crosslister taking that one pretty quickly.
Pretty sure that's on the bingo cards, isn't it? The Widowmaker battle 1v1. Yeah. They forget about the car here and it will sneak on through. So point number one going to Chimera, and they're going to lose their lives on the way out the door too.
They did take a few ultimates though. Chimera, they did commit that EMP, although I think the fight was already won and done once you've lost the picks. But Sway though, next fight will have that blade. No nano though. T Derek has switched over to the Brig just to stop Reaps. I don't know if we've seen very much on the observing side, but he has been absolutely everywhere in that backline. Just been just a pest in general. Coggins will have the amplification matrix of their own this time as the dive comes through.
Yeah, the great stun already having an effect. Kane goes up with the window, rock to the face. They have to use their mentality on themselves just to sustain a little longer. Goes back up and it costs them their life for that part there. Great blade use here, managing to find two squishies right there backline, making it a third. Great play by Sweet to just make sure the rest of the team is sweet.
Yeah, that was really well played. You lost the Baptiste there towards the end. Kane just got a little bit too big for his boots. Crosslister, I will just point this out quickly, does have sights, so it's going to be really really careful here on the side of Envy. Don't want to get picked. I talked about it before, but Coggins just cannot get picked on that Baptiste pick. Kane as well, playing a little bit that support mystery heroes, but now he's now onto the Zenyatta instead. Just saw how good Transcendence can be, especially with some of these ults like Sway's Blade. Just had enough of the team just getting absolutely wiped like we saw in that previous fight. Coming to this next fight, you got the Bongo, but the Flux is coming first.
Flux to go up, opens things right. Oh, no, for the Widow, but unfortunately no connection. Up goes the mines behind them, and they still have plenty of protection to just sustain through it. They use the bongos to get the damage as well to win out the fight. They're just playing the high ground so well right now.
Yeah, Oni-chan did a beautiful job there, stunning out left of Zen out of that ultimate. And because of that, the Flux was gone. Reaps actually switched over now off the ball onto the Winston, and left of Zen's going to help out with that dive. Now switching over to the Diva. I'll keep going if you want me to. Crustless also switched off the Widowmaker onto the McCree just to get those flashes. Sway's clearly been really annoying. Here comes the dive with the Winston this time.
Great dive up. The cart being pushed along slowly, but Sweet's quick onto that to take Dottie out the fight there. They've just got the dive on so well placed here. Let's see if they can get rid of. The monkey drops in. High Noon from the Cowboy. Zoning Noon, really. Doesn't get any kills, but does push the team right back. Envy just really in control of this battle here.
Yeah, and then with Sway taking out Ryan, that's so much healing. Now Kane's fallen down. You just push, and that's exactly what Envy's doing, as they just keep falling like dominoes. And Dr. Doomslice sitting pretty with a Flux. You've got Swee as well with the Blade for the next fight, as well as Coggins and their ult. Reaps, though, they now... Oh, was that almost a C9? I just did not notice that. Dottie nearly got the C9. Very close, but speaking of which, has the EMP for next fight. So perhaps the EMP comes now with the dive, but I think he just went up alone. It's on like 1 HP.
Well, they're going to have to do something fast because that Blade into the back line could be big, but it isn't in the end. Taken out by Kane. Noon here, hacked, shuts it down, and grabs pretty much the whole team in one foul swoop, and they still somehow don't win the fight. Some huge damage output from Envy here. Reverse High Noon, absolutely massive. Taking out Dr. Doom as well. This might be their fight to take here. They've just got to get the last few. Up comes the rally to give a little bit of armor and sustain. The DPS 1v1 to decide who wins it all. The stun in the end is the champion.
No, hang on. They're going to keep going here, stranger. We've got Dr. Doomslice now just living thanks to the immortality field. But I think this is more just a time burner than anything else. This is where you just want to give up the point, but they're not going to. They're going to do Bongo, and bombs coming out. TD Derek as well, getting a pick.
Oh my goodness, this is so tight. They managed to actually stall here, get most of the team back in. The shield placement pushes them right into the corner, but NB still feeling pretty confident and finding the kills out of it. Stun onto the Wrecking Ball, puts heaps of pressure on Reaps. Another High Noon from across the mid lane. Doesn't connect. Oh man.
Very well played there by Envy. I thought they would have had to just drop that point, but that Bongo from this Dingo is able to provide so much boosted damage, especially to the DPS of Envy. And because of that, just burnt down. They didn't have much heals, actually, Chimera. They had the Brig Zenyatta, so if you could take down either one, especially the Brig, the team just falls down like a house of cards. Whereas with Envy, you had the Lucio with the beat ready to go, who immediately got that pick onto the Sombra, which is not what you want when you're trying to get that last little push to the objective there. Crustlister did a fantastic job of almost clearing the entire point there, but Dr. Doomslayers came in at the very last second. Now we see they've changed. We've got Envy that they're now attacking, and instead of running that double shield comp, they're going to dive with TD Darrick on the Brigitte and Coggins instead of that BAP out of BAP jail and now onto the Ana, ready to either get the Nano onto Sui, which we didn't actually see much on Lijiang Tower. Dr. Doomslice was usually the one to get the Nano. On the other side, however, they're going to take a leaf out of Envy's book and they're going to play that double shield. Instead, though, they're going to run the Hanzo, which is going to be really hard for someone like Dr. Doomslice to actually be able to jump in properly. Then, finally, we've got Dottie on the Torbjorn, the Swedish meatball himself. Will make it really hard for Oni-chan to get into the backline without getting at least just poked away from that turret.
Yeah, with a tiny health bar like that, it makes it very difficult with that turret just beaming at you the whole time. You kind of need your team to focus on it. Wow, Doom Slice jumping in very aggressively, gets focused down straight away. But Sweet trading up some damage nicely. Dingo as well, not to be lost amongst that kill feed, is finding themselves one as well. They've got the damage here to walk this card up. Chimera very split off, and now only Deeps is really there to hold it off. They have got the shield, great turret positioning here, but they're still just losing the fight.
They're losing the fight, and it's all because Envy's just on top of them from 6 different angles, and as poke, you kind of want them coming from one, because when Orisa wants to, you know, obviously they just want to shoot straight. My shield is here, so I'm going to shoot there. But then you've got Dr. Doomslice behind you. You've got this Dingo taking out your Mercy to your left. It's very, very hard, and you can see immediately some switches coming out for Chimera. They're going to instead take Dottie to the Reaper, and they can't even touch.
Ryan just flicked the mace and said, don't even think about it, buddy. Stay up there. Blade here, right into the back line from Sweet. With the Mentality up, it barely keeps them afloat, but the kills should follow as they have such low health. They are going to sneak them out one by one. Kane has the high ground, trying to do what they can, but knows that they're probably in a bit of a tough spot here, trying to get away. It does not go well for them.
Does not go well, the first defense, which you really needed to, Chimera, but there's so much aggression from Sui. You can see the Genji specialists themselves being able to be on top of the team. This is where Chimera might need to think about switching things up a little bit, because now you've got to worry about Oni-chan and I was about to say Sui as well, but not anymore. Oni-chan, and there you go, the Pulse Bomb taking out Ryan. That's a lot of healing and just a lot of CC that's removed. So now you see the Nano.
Dragons is an attempt to just shut down the car, but the Nano boosted Doomslice, a terrifying sight to have yeeted straight at you. Reaps playing on the car, but the barrier unfortunately only covering one side and not the side that the enemy's on, so that goes absolutely rough for them. Absolutely huge play from Envy there.
Huge play from Envy. Really well dove, and of course poked as well on the defense. But yeah, that attack with Oni-chan and Sui working together to get the job done, they were able to remove the DPS. I mean, you saw Sui in the back line pretty much the whole time unpunished from the rest of the team.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a dry blade against 4 people. And Chimera couldn't unfortunately take down Sui. So coming into this potential last map, 2CP, either Temple of Anubis, Hanamura, or Volskaya Industries, yeah, now we're seeing Envy truly have warmed up and come into their own. We might see the dive again because it's so strong. Those DPS work so well together. On the other side, however, Chimera, they're not out quite yet. They are really, really good with that brawl style. So it is their map to pick. So perhaps Volskaya Industries or Hanamura, especially Hanamura first point if you're real. And actually, I'm going to double down on Hanamura. The reason why is because Dottie, we've seen so much Symmetra from Dottie, and very good Symmetra at that too. So that's where you can just TP straight to the point. You can take it left, you can take it top right. There's many, many different angles you can take that, and that's where you come into your own as that sort of brawl team too. Crustlister as well, we saw incredible hit scan play across the board from them. So, you know, that's where you can also take out the McCree. You know, so once you've made your presence known on the point, it's a lot harder for someone like Envy, even if they are coming from 6 different angles, to really dive onto you. When you've got that Cree, you might have a Brig as well for extra stun. On the other side, though, Okay. On the other side, however, Envy, they might be diving. I think we're going to take a really quick break though, but we'll be right back. Make sure to stay hydrated and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Welcome back. I just found out that Pap is an absolute psychopath. He puts his boiling water in the bowl and then his noodles afterwards. Like, what kind of guy is that? Anyway, welcome back to ASCENT Season 5. This is Envy versus Chimera. We're going solid here.
I've been thrown under the bus, chat, I swear. Fine. In that case, you put your milk before your cereal.
I mean, we're all a little weird some ways, aren't we?
You do what must be done. If no one does it, then someone has to.
Someone does.
Anyway, you're right. We've got Envy. They're now up 2 maps to the 1 of Kai's. It is Kai's map to pick. We were just going on the 2CP route, Stranger, and with kind of tossing up the idea between the Brawl, Dive, Poke compositions that you usually see, and how Hanamura might work more in favor for the likes of Chimera, who do need to come back. They cannot lose a map.
Yeah, they've had a great performance. I mean, Envy has really come out of their shell since their first game. We joked about them having like a bit of a warm-up there at that first one, and they've definitely come together more as a team towards this end. They as well, keep in mind, are the fresher team out of the two here, so these guys, you would expect Chimera here to have more team play than Envy, but I feel like from what we're seeing, Envy are showing that little bit of an edge on them.
That's actually something to talk about here, because we do know that they have those little team meetings, and perhaps they're really paying off. Perhaps like, in King's Row, where they really turned around, that the turns really did table. And you had, the 2-0 in Lijiang Tower, and to be able to turn that around into now 2 maps in a row. They must have really good breakdowns. Maybe, Doom Slice was like, Dr. Doom Slice was like, okay, guys, just pull your head in. Let's just do it. And also, because we know that we've got the Masters to GM players that actually are in Envy, do we see Oni-chan and Sui, who are the higher SR players, maybe they're starting to, take control of the communication a little bit more? Because when you have gold tanks trying to shot call, nothing wrong with that at all. But when you're up into that higher divisions, Overwatch is actually just played a little bit differently the higher tiered you get. And because you've got Sui and you've got Oni-chan on your team, perhaps there's a little bit of light coaching, light communication going on between them that wasn't quite prevalent in Lijiang Tower. Like in these lower sort of brackets, you don't actually see much, okay guys, let's actually pull back from this fight and then go in. Like that's actually not really in the lower, that's usually, you find that in the sort of the diamond above, like, okay, you know what, we actually don't have to press W into absolutely every single fight out there. Anyway, we're now on to Temple of Anubis here, Stranger, and Chimera, they're actually going to do the Winston dive with Dottie on the Symmetra. They will not relinquish that sim. On the other side, it seems that Dr. Doomslice wants to play the Reinhardt with the with Sway. I keep saying Sway. With Sway, Nanoblade is on the table.
Yeah, that's going to be strong for a win condition for them, especially on these holds. But Kruslo on that Widow can really tear apart this push here with a single kill or even 2 will really open the field up for them. So, gonna go early in. Chimera want to take that low ground, push off to that right hand or that left hand if you're looking from the defending side here, which gives them some high ground advantage. And also, we noticed that Kruslo's still hanging around main lane, so could find an off-angle shot if they've got their aim down. Reap's blocking off well. Sui moves into that high ground. Eats a bit of damage, but not before escaping. Still no connecting headshot from Kruslo. Well, they've got such good high ground presence. They just need to find the kills. The back away here into the lower cover from Envy is great for that protection. Not giving that angle to the Widow. Now Lefazen's forcing them to say, come on, let's get onto this point.
If they can, if Coggins can get the Nano fast enough, they could turn the fight. Sway actually does take down Krustlister, but on the other side, that is a support. TD Darren is down. And from both sides as well, that goes this Dingo too.
Oof, Oni-chan keeping the damage strong for them on that defensive side, but they're going to have to make sure they win out the shield battle. The Reinhardts are in. Early nano boost here gives them some power, but the pin attempt to take out a DPS is huge, and this Nano Ryan has to do it alone now. Ends up getting beaten down. They find the point. Oh, the stun.
Look at that health. Reaps is like, what, 5 HP and a dream? He paid for the game. He wants to use all of his HP. Thank you very much. Hey, has that shatter now in the back pocket for the next fight. Same as Kane. That was a really, really rough defense and attack from both of them. I really like the way, though, that Chimera approached that with the Sim teleport, have from both angles high ground there. And now they're just going to see Sim CP to point. Deja vu from Lijiang Tower.
They've got the bomb, though, this time on MV's side to try and block some off. Finds the kill. They commit Blade as well. They do not want to have a problem here early in the fight. They know what 2CP can be like, so they shut it down quick.
Okay, so next fight, you've got Dr. Doomslice and Reeves. Both have shatters, so I think it's going to come down to that. Based off what happened in Lijiang Tower and what happened just then. Oh man, the stagger as well, by the way. Just brutal.
That's so long. Oh
Left of Zen. That is a very long one. That's at least another 20 seconds just burnt off the clock from that. You hope, though, that Envy site kind of sticks close to the point, though. I know they're pushing out now and trying to find other picks, but now that Sway's gone, the momentum's completely shifted.
Nice drop of the hammer there. They got the Diva Bomb to drop it right in behind everyone. And absolutely huge. The exchange of Diva Bombs, but left for Zen's one really having the impact in the end. Point control now. Gonna go straight into Chimera's hands. They found the picks they needed to. It's the stall attempt here. Sweet coming in hot with the damage, trying to get rid of that charge sim, and they managed to do just that. Holding off this push here.
Yeah, again, Envy just let a tick go by, which is really, really smart, and not just feeding already and going into the mode of, oh, quick, we got to stall. That was really well played, very patient. They were able to very slowly get the picks that they needed, get the players back on board. It seems like T. Derek is instead opting to go to the Lucio for perhaps the speed, maybe even the beat as well, just to counter the aggression that's coming from Reap. Here comes the Sim TP, immediately destroyed this time, however, so they will be going instead hard left-hand side. Coggins with the amplification matrix, so as they bottleneck themselves through the Chimera, it's going to be very, very hard.
Windows there, though, to absolutely answer the question. Down comes the Blade, the Shatter as well, to just put a complete hold to them. Pure dominance from Envy here with great ult management too.
If you're Chimera, though, that is some good ults that Envy used, and look, you probably didn't need that shadow from Dr. Doom. It was already sort of one and done once those picks that Swee got, because now Chimera coming back with the shadow of their own. They've also got Crosslister with the High Noon, and Kane is really, really close for Amplification Matrix. And from casting last week and casting now, a lot of fights have actually been dictated by these amplification matrices, especially with the fire strikes that are coming through them.
Yeah, putting Deadeye through it as well, extremely effective. They've rotated right back. Envy's not keen on taking that close range battle, not with their ult disadvantage like we're talking about. Commits Bob off the point, so that could end up being a problem for them, but they follow up with aggression too to zone them out where they want them. They lose a couple of picks, but trading out looks like I thought it was actually going to go the right way for Chimera there, but they do actually lose a couple of picks in the end. So now they've got a few of them on the point here to just stall out. Again, they do not want to lose left for Zen after like a minute. This is going to be bad.
It's going to be a shocker. They're gone. No. Sweet to take them out. Finally, the suffering of left of Zen is over. Yet now, though, because they were able to actually somehow win that fight, Envy, they're looking really good with those ultimates. You got the bomb, you got the shatter again. T. Derek has now got the beat too. On the other side, though, Kai, almost every ult, 4 ultimates except for Amplification Matrix and the shield. So both Reinhardts will come up with that shatter. They're going again for the left-hand side of point. This is really interesting, but they will be TPing instead. No to Psych Out.
Bombs to the back, blocked out. Noon's still going. Nice kill onto Doom. Reverse bomb there coming in. That crush is massive though, and they cannot afford to lose kills like that. Chimera's completely lost the push with that single crush. Oh, mate.
Mate. Just mate. This is last fight now for Chimera, and they used quite a lot of ults. They're going to switch it up, actually. Reaps now onto the Winston, diving onto Sui, or at least trying to stop the aggression from them. Crosslister onto the Tracer, of course. You want to try and get those stall characters out at least a little earlier. Ryan's the only one with ult. Will have to use that pretty much preemptively as the team tries to get onto the point, as 12 seconds hits the clock.
Yeah, this is huge. They have to do this right now. Monkey into the back to try and put some pressure on Immortality Field to come out, but Doom's dropped the hammer just like that. They should be able to sneak out the sim there, and Bob will be the one to steal the kill from all of them. This point dominance from Envy is super strong. Chimera losing one after the other as that Bob being the star player of the night, of course, just killing everyone left, right, and center. Absolutely beautiful when he actually does contribute something to the game. Envy with pure point control there to just delete them out. Fantastic.
That's what my teammates always say. Oh, brilliant. Pap did something. Oh, thank God. It's not a 6v5 after all, ladies and gentlemen.
The platinum matchmaking experience right there.
Oh, yeah, but it takes a bow, clearly. I deserve that. Yes, Chimera weren't able to fully cap that, but they were able to get nearly 2 ticks. So at the very least, you've got something on the board for point B. Because it's not like, point B is easy to take. Not at all. Casters call this Temple of Draw Anubis for a reason. I mean, we might even see Anubis go to nighttime at this rate. But because at least you've got a win condition to fight for, or defend for, should I say, Chimera, they can win this with a double shield of, obviously the Orisa Sigma, but you will now take Crosslister and Ryan together, Ashe and Mercy, which I think is really, really smart. Get the Ashe onto the high ground and really poke, because I felt like on Junkertown, yes, there was some poke from Chimera, but there wasn't quite enough pressure to stop the Monkey just diving in and to stop Sui just getting into that backline and absolutely tearing it apart. We've now got Oni-chan, though, on the May, probably going to at least get left of Zen or the Reaps. Last second change, actually. Dottie's now on to the Forest. There will be a pharmacy in play here. And Sui, of course, taking the Genji. This is it. If Envy can double cap, this is their match to win.
Yeah, that Pharaoh's going to be hard for them. Doom with the quick pin in. Dottie making great use of that aerial control there to pick up Oni-chan out of the fight without the May wall. Makes it a little harder to push into these fights. Finding the second DPS as well, so they haven't got a lot of damage going in here. Dottie's just popping it though. Managing to find another. Looking to clean up these final 3 here with the stagger to buy some time.
Yeah, and you see immediately a switch up. You have nothing to answer Dottie to begin with, but now Oni-chan's on that McCree, got that hit scan. Finally, they're still pushing this though, Stranger. And unfortunately, Dr. Doom will fall, as well as the rest of them. But yeah, Kai, that was actually really good staggers from them too. Although left of Zen will fall, probably will get the res up. But hang on a second, they're still pushing.
How do they still lose all these players and keep the aggression on? They're just so good at keeping that constant pressure going. Dottie's really got to be keeping the kills flowing on that kill feed to make sure these holds land.
No, and they are, and they've got the barrage to show for it too. Whereas on the other side, you don't really have too much on Envy. T. Derek is doing quite a bit of healing and damage already at 90% for the beat. Sui's trying their best to get in, but the poke from Dottie might be too much.
They've got that window up top as well with Krustler there with the shots through it, putting out heaps of value. There's the barrage coming down, takes out a heavy tank, which is huge value, just removing a massive amount of health out the fight. Sui trying to make their way back out. Dingo as well being lit, able to escape. Good shots. The support takes Dottie out of all the players. Of course, it's the bloody Bap. Gets traded out in exchange though.
Is that just us supports talking internally now?
Yes.
We're just letting out our aggression. I just, through it's like, Stranger, unclench your teeth, Stranger, unclench your teeth. No, I killed the Farah. Now Coggins has gone onto the Ana for Envy just to get that nano. They will push, sorry, I cannot go past that.
Great beat to give them the speed. Sui goes in, 2 kills with the blade, looking to find the third. Bob's put to sleep, so a bit of value there. Only Chan with a great stun with the headshot to follow, so Reaps, no chances more. It has the high noon, that's beautiful. Gets traded for it, but that doesn't matter. They found the value they needed to, and Sui's just popping it. Bit of an unfortunate Diva Bomb, though.
I think that legitimately was a remake. I can confirm.
Okay.
That wasn't a clear the point. And I guess, you know, you do want to try and get the snowball effect, but again, the 2CP of being able to respawn instantly as defense, you can't really snowball as easily. Envy, they did have to use quite a lot of ults, but Dr. Doom will have the mines just to whack on point. On the other side, however, Chimera, they're just going to have to hold out until they can get at least something. Dottie will have to just try and poke out Envy as they go left.
This really can still go both ways. Envy, they don't even have to full cap. Great mines onto the point. Sui clearing out the Tourbillon at the back. But they want to look for as much value as they can out of those little shurikens. Dottie's got the high ground strength, but only just popping off. Down will go Dottie. Huge aggressive push here. They've got control of the point, which forces out the gravitic flux, picking up only the one player. They got to look up for some following damage there on someone else. Anti-nade on left for Zen makes it super hard to survive. They will go down there in the end, and now the stall is really in play. They have to find those crucial pickups. Looking like they could get Baby DB here, which could be of great value. The shutdown on Derek, Derek, sorry, is great as well. So they've held it off just for the moment.
Yeah, 2CP moment. Not just any moment, a 2CP one. Dottie did make a really good switch to the Doomfist. Now has gone to the Junkrat instead. And I think that's really smart, because with the Pharah, you want the open space, but here it's a little bit more linear. You've also got, I mean, a very quote-unquote indoor sort of area. You know, your head hits those pillars all the time. You're still going to keep up with the Tourbillon, though, but so many ults envy this fight. If they can play this nice and slowly, pretty much all 6 will come online.
Yeah, that puts them in a great spot. They're doing a very split poke kind of push here. I don't know if they're trying to pull something out of them or not, or if they're just figuring out where to break in. Great nano boost onto Genji with the blade. That is absolutely brutal in that backline as they try to back out. Puts them right where Sui wants them. High noon from Oni-chan to zone them into the corner. Gets killed, but not before finding the kill on Kane, which opens the point right on up for them. They only need 2 ticks really here. Krusler with the Tracer, desperation to hop onto the point and stall. Dottie does manage to get rid of a healer, which is great value as Kane walks back on to keep the healing going for Chimera. They've actually managed to hold this off here.
Yeah, no, really, really well played there by Chimera. Reaps, incredible on the ball there. Not just, you know, doing the spin to win, but also managing to pick up 3 kills. Kruslister as well on the Tracer, able to pick up a few themselves. Gone back to the McCree, however, and that's just because they're diving. The DPS of Envy, they want to be absolutely everywhere on top of you, so you need that stun. Dottie, though, does have that Riptire, and with 1 minute remaining, it's going to be really interesting to see how they're going to survive this, Stranger.
Early gravitic flux from left for Zen. Trying to find an early pick potential. Sui shuts down a healer, so that's great. Does eat a rock to the face in a trade, but quickly dashing straight through to make sure that they know that they didn't like it. Shield placement great here for Reaps, holding them back from the subjective for just a moment. Another blade from Sui, but the tire is fat. Takes 3 of them out the fight, the 4th to follow from pure damage output at 30 seconds. You cannot afford to have that happen.
No, 30 seconds remain. This is a Tracer moment if I've ever seen of one. Oni-chan's got to get there. Blazing speeds. Absolutely nothing from either team for this last fight. This is purely dry, even if that's if Envy can even touch here, Stranger. It's going to be absolute balls to the wall as they're just speeding right through all of the poke.
I like that. Use the environment. Oni-chan gets dealt to. Dr. Doom unfortunately can't handle the grenades there, so does fall absolute power output from Chimera here as they dominate and just control the point. That final tick that was needed won't be given, and the overtime trickles. What a absolute hole.
We got another fifth one. Chimera, beautiful Junkrat plays. My goodness, always on top of them, always adding that damage. And as when you're damage boosted like that as well, just one shot to a Tracer instantly obliterates them. And it's very hard to play Tracer into this kind of comp. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Well played.
Nuts.
Well played indeed. And yeah, they stuck to their guns with that double shield, and it really paid dividends for them. Swee just could not quite get the grasp with those nano blades that was quite desired, and really good stalls from Chimera when they looked down, because that was a 4-minute hold.
Yeah. They did really well on that first point as well. They bought a lot of time for themselves there with some unique playstyle. The Pharah being uncontested for quite a while took a lot of value there, and obviously it kind of forced Envy to switch up too. So good play there to kind of force them into a certain playstyle. That was really good from them.
No, it was really well played. Now we're moving on to the fifth and final map, because we didn't get a draw of Nepal or Oasis. Oh, either way, honestly. So it is Envy's turn to pick, and we've seen really good dive from them actually, and actually quite good poke too. So purely based off the dive, you'd probably go more Oasis. There is of course that Brawley University, but other than that, you've got that high ground of especially city center, where it's you can get on that high ground, just jump in and out. But it seems like we will go on to Nepal instead. Quite a little bit more brawly, except if we're talking Sanctum. Sanctum is quite pokey. You can play this extremely pokey, but that's not the first one. Our first one will be Shrine. Be interesting to see how they're going to play this, but it's more likely than not we might even see a Symmetra come out from Dotty, because those turrets on this point are brutal to try and fight and get across.
Yeah, so many sneaky places that you can just cheekily hide them behind, and they get such great value on an open point like that. Very even map this as well. Obviously, perfect. It's like almost perfect symmetry. So, again, maybe Pharah could have some value here. We saw how good it was earlier on, but maybe this time Envy will be expecting that.
I mean, perhaps, but even when they were expecting it and tried to go off to the McCree, Dotty was just everywhere all at once, and it was very hard for them to try and get to the point. And we see here, obviously they don't know about what each other are playing, but Dotty's going to be playing that far like you suggested, and then you've got Oni-chan, who's now almost taking Dotty's spot as the sim, so they'll be looking just to get on that point as fast as possible. Although I can eat my own words, and they might only go sim to begin with and then go over to the Tracer. If that's what happens, you're gonna have to be really careful of Pharah. As I say that, caster curse. Dotty is now on the Symmetra, likes the look of that instead. The big difference though will be Swee versus the Reaper.
Both teams very quick to the point here. They used that speed boost, they used those tellies to clear that room. The Reaper here is going to give them a lot of close space, so it means Sweet has to play the back line aggressively and find the early pick to make the battle more in their favor. Right now, Envy controlling this objective well, but they lose the barrier, and look how quickly Dr. Doom gets melted through. That's unfortunate. The window does give them that sustain there to let them control that point for a little bit longer to get the convert, but now Chimera can walk in and take some space.
Yeah, they can. Losing that Reinhardt so early. Hey, there you go. The Reinhardt's gone, but the damage has already been done. That's the support and DPS gone down. That was so unfortunate for that barrier to break. You've now got the bigger shields. They're not just going to relinquish it easy, but they might have to. That's both DPS down, supports, down, and Dr. Doom Slice. Very unfortunate, but you did get 27%. Really well played there by Chimera, buying their time. Yes, they lose a couple of the percentages, especially with this Lucio as well. T Derek just getting Derek getting as much as possible. T Derek, right? T Derek.
Yeah.
T Derek. Anyway, no, that was quite good. 37% on the board at the very least, but Chimera has so many ults now to fall back on, almost all 6 of them. Whereas on the other side, Sui has quite an uphill battle. Looks like they will be taking hard left side, but do they expect Crustlister on this Reaper with the ult?
Very cheeky positioning. Has it on the Shatter, dropping down nicely to find 2. And the rest of the team clean up. That's just pure coordination there.
Really well played. They were not expecting Crustlister, just sitting, waiting, wishing that you took the high ground, and so they did, right into their hands. Sui, though, was able to keep that blade, though, for the next fight. We'll have to do it dry, but we have seen that no matter what happens, they are able to get a couple of picks. Dottie, though, still has the massive shield, and, of course, here comes the amplification mates. They don't care. They're just going to go right.
MB, good positioning decision to move around the side there. Dottie commits the shield across the map, but it's not really too much of a problem. NB's just buying their time here, playing out those ults, and then puts one of their own. Look at this reverse play. Now they move in. Diva Bomb right at the back there. Immortality Field blocks. They commit the grab to shut down the blade, but don't find the kill. The rest of the team on the point doing not so well, as Envy kind of getting taken there. They do manage to get Lepers in. Somehow Sui sustains through that grab alone to get the kill, but on the point, they're still playing well. Chimera taking that advantage, finding the kills, the Shatter to drop down and get them a couple more.
They need to go. They just need to leave, Envy. It's now 88% now. Ticking up to 90, got 10 seconds to touch the point, and it's looking so in Chimera's favor at the moment. You've got some very last minute switches with Sui onto the far. It's going to be a very last second touch.
Ooh. That boop, almost enough. They had the loose to get onto that back line. T Derek now trying to play that back, but look at this attempt there with the pin, with the Shatter on the bounce, but unfortunately goes badly for them in the end, and that means they just don't have any shield on the point. The turrets just make it impossible to even maneuver around it, and a huge play by Chimera there to take this first point.
Yeah, really well played there. The whole time their ultimate cycle was actually really good. We've seen it a bit across these 4 maps, but I think that was the map where Chimera was like, okay, this map we're going to use these 2, or this map we're going to use these 2. We could tell that even when the grab was popped, it was for a really good purpose of shutting down Sui, and we saw how big, and they've obviously experienced it very firsthand, how big Sui's blades can be. So I think it was really important there that they shut them down. And now we're on to the village, and this is match point for Chimera. This is their first sniff at victory here, and it seems that Dottie will be going out onto the sim really quickly, whereas on the other hand, Oni-chan opting instead for the Sombra, so cheeky little hacks.
Now let's see what value they can get out of it. They pick good targets here, taking a Kane out of the fight, removes that sustain, but unfortunately Dr. Doom not having such a fun time. Both Reinhardt's the fall, but Envy do have the man advantage there, and they should be able to just take the point to start.
That was very, very quick. Really good hacks there, picking up the few stragglers that was left as well. And because it's such a fun... Hang on a second, I'm just having a look at the ults. How has this Dingo already got 90% unless they've popped out of mech, which I think they have. That does make sense. Never mind. Oni-chan as well, 70% already with EMP. So they will actually be going main directly to point. Deja Vu again with Li Zhang Tower. How are they going to do this, Envy?
Great push by Chimera, and they managed to get set up. So now looks like Envy have to push in on a bad setup, and it finds them losing some kills. Reaps does go down from Oni-chan, but the rest of the team looking pretty solid still. And that convert lets them kind of make back these point advantage that they lost out on at the beginning.
Yeah, no, indeed. Already overlapped what Envy were able to pick up. Oni-chan, though, does have the really lovely... Basically, you can win a whole fight off an EMP, so they have that locked and loaded. I don't know whether or not you just wait until Dr. Doomslice has a Shatter of their own, because EMP Shatter can just win a fight instantly, especially with as many ults that Chimera are coming up on. You've got the Shatter of their own, but here comes the cross love.
Great old double shatters, but Dr. Dooms wins out the battle. Immortality Field, though, actually saving them and makes them win the fight outright. Man, that Reaper roll unfortunately got blocked out by an Immortality mostly. And that would be an unfortunate moment for him to see that come up.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate timing for Dr. Doomslice to try and get a turnaround shatter, especially with Crustlister just making sure everybody dies.
Interesting hack here. Does reap them the kill on reaps. And that without that shield, without that shield, they should have good control. Yeah, both beats drop for both teams, so a lot of HP floating around the field. The Mortality Field used up as well for Envy. Now the grab to come out, but still they've got all that shielding. Crustler doing what they can up close, but Swee's the one that's hitting the hits right there. Crustler to go down. Swee falls as well. No Reapers either way. Both Reinhardt swinging away on the point. Attempted pin, but it doesn't matter. The hammer lands on the face. These Reinhardts are having a hard time on these objectives. Oni-chan has to somehow get 2 kills here to look back at the point, but at 99 they clean it out up. That was huge.
It was clean from Chimera. They weren't looking so hot those couple of middle maps there, but they came back so strong towards the end. Reaps the Reinhardt genius towards the end there. Always had that sort of one-ups. I mean, look at that. It's just like that shadow we saw in Lijiang Tower. Absolutely monstrous. And then Crustlister, beautiful Reaper plays across the board, and Dotty, and of course, the supports. The whole team played exceptionally well there. Have you got an MVP, Stranger of the Night?
Oh, that's a hard call. I think Swee had a lot of great backline value, but I also feel like Crustler was maybe a bit more consistent on the DPS.
It's very back and forward, wasn't it?
It was this whole match. I mean, it looked right down to the 5th one. So hard decision. I think I'll have to pick myself Crustler there, whether we said their name right the whole match or not. I'll have to confirm
Up for debate. Yeah.
But I'd pick them myself.
Yeah, I honestly really like Dotty. I think she brought a lot to the table there every time, no matter what they played. In fact, they were a really big turning point to winning Anubis. And of course, to winning the last and most important map of it all was Nepal. As soon as they were, no matter what point that they were on, they were able to hold it. They had really amazing placements with their teleporters and allowed Crustlister to get that really great high noon. One thing we didn't see was any bombs come through, but hey, it worked. So I would give mine to Dotty, but man, did Envy play well. It could have gone either way, Stranger.
For sure. So back and forth. Really, really good. Envy, of course, started that with a little bit slow there. They kind of came back with the team play. And I think Chimera in the end, they just had that little bit of an upper hand and it gave them to them. So really well done, both teams.
Really well played. Chimera taking that match 3-2, but don't go anywhere. After this short break, we will be having our Div 5 game, Bronze Johnsons versus Pride. And trust me when I say you do not want to go anywhere, not just because of the game, but also the casting, because, well, you'll see in a bit. Greetings. We got some new matches, and because of that, a whole new top has been worn, and that is because this is a very special occasion, stranger. We have Bronze Johnsons versus Pride for our second match for the night with, we got oh my goodness, Chimera, I wasn't saying that for about 2 hours before, versus Envy Chimera coming out on top. Bronze Johnsons versus Pride. This is a very exciting matchup. If you know one of the teams at the very least, it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Let's just jump straight into Bronze Johnson. Like, why the heck not? As you can clearly see, managed by Johnson, captained by Johnson. You would never guess, but the coach is also Johnson. We've got on the main tank, look out for Johnson, loves playing the ball. Watch out for the off tank of Johnson. Also Noodle, aka Noodle, loves playing the Reinhardt. And look out for Daddy Johnson as well on the flex DPS of McCree. Then you've got Budget Johnson as well. Is that like just the lesser version? Do you just call him John or something like that? Like
they're fake bronze. Like it's the spray on bronze, not real bronze.
Yeah,
like,
but yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, okay. And then we've got Pat the Johnson, or Pat as he's also known, on the main support, favorite hero of Lucio. And then the OG, the man, the myth, the legend that inspired it all, OG Johnson. You'll never guess the people to look out for tonight. We've got Johnson and Johnson to look out for. The Johnson on the Diva is apparently really amazing, and also the Johnson that happens to play the Ana is also pretty spectacular. A little bit of info on the Johnsons. In all honesty, the story was they started calling one of their teammates Johnson when he was trialing because his account is called White Cockatoo. So instead we created a subtle euphemism, Johnson. The name is stuck, and we all changed our names to Johnson for reasons they don't remember.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Bronze Johnson is mostly just bronze lemurs who have also participated in the past in AOL, but only half the team because of their availabilities. Lemurs have existed for a bit over a year. Stranger, this is going to be a whole bunch of fun casting because we're going to be like, Johnson Earth Shattered, and then that Johnson also did something over there. And
it's going to be bloody confusing, that's for sure. Anyway, on the other side, we've got Pride, who is not a Johnson all team. They actually have different names, which
truly unfortunate times we live in.
Yeah, I mean, no originality, am I right? In the end. Anyway, their manager Toes, they got captain Afan, is that how you say that? And Bastion Main is their coach, giving them some tips and tricks. On the main tank, we got Coco, Beat Boop there on the off tank, Jester 53 is our flex DPS, and Inspire there will also be on the hit scan DPS. Artemis and then Crystal bring up that support line with the old Messiana kind of favorites there. And really got to be looking out for Jester, who might just bring out some Bastion. You just never know. And they have,
Bastion Main is their coach, so
yeah, I mean,
maybe
maybe just. I mean, Bastion Main being their coach is absolutely nuts. So that's pretty sick. They've been together since July, so that's pretty cool. We don't know. I guess Johnsons have been together for like a year, so a little bit more on the time scale there for them. So Pride might have that disadvantage in the team aspect. So we'll have to see. And their ball player gets more environmental kills on himself than anyone else. So, let's see how that plays out for them, because I'm sure that'll lead to some great clips going on here. Anyway, the teams are ready, so we won't hang around too much longer here. Of course, again, we start out in Lijiang Tower, so let's just see what these guys have in store for us. I can't wait to see what these Johnsons have to do.
Come on, Johnson. Don't kill me, but I'm going to run through it really quickly. Lijiang Tower, and then you move on to the hybrid of Hollywood, Blizzard World, and then Kings Row. And then finally Junkertown, Watchpoint Gibraltar, and Dorado. We haven't actually seen any Watchpoint of Gibraltar or Dorado, which kind of sucks. But anyway, we'll see some Temple of Anubis as well, and Hanamura or Volsky Industries, depending. And then if we need it, Nepal Oasis, and then if we really, really need it, we'll go into Ilios, which we haven't as of yet. We are into our first match of Lijiang Tower, and this is Control Tower, if I'm not mistaken. And I think you know the map names, whereas a Para, a fellow caster of mine, him and I, we struggle.
Yeah, I mean, Johnson's, we're kind of rooting for them, I think, to start with here. Kind of just want to see them
After
pop
bias
off.
to Lamau.
Yeah, definitely have a slight bias to see them. I just want to be able to yell Johnson really loud the whole match long, so that's just
You will
me.
get the chance. There's no doubt about that. With Johnson coming out with the Reinhardt sort of brawl. Interestingly, though, one of the Johnsons isn't actually playing Diva. They've instead opted to play the Sigma. On the other side, however, Jasta, of course, going on to the Bastion almost immediately, but the tanks are diving.
Yeah, I like Jasta taking that off angle here. Johnson's trying to push that lane. They've got a lot of control here without the man advantage. Pride's having a bad time. They got to jump into that back. Great anti-nade. But unfortunately, Kokoko can't capitalize on that. And so the Johnsons will take control of that first part of the fight. Jasta does have the setup up top, but can be easily blocked off. Immortality Field, giving them some sustain. And down goes Jasta. So this fight in the Johnsons' favor.
Yeah, Johnson do take... I can't, okay. Johnson are able to take that out, and that's purely because of the speed that they were able to have. One of the Johnsons happens to be playing Lucio, and because of that, they were able to push into the 3 members left from Pride, and just left them in the dust, basically. And even though I like this rotation, though, it's beautiful from one of the Johnsons.
Man, they're really showing off their Johnsons right now with the clever play as they rotate behind to find those squishy kills in the back line. They even managed to fully team kill.
The Johnsons team, one of the Johnsons. I love it. I know Pride. It is rough when you don't have the Bastion sitting on the payload, and it's kind of like Symmetra. If you lose the point as a Bastion, it is a lot tougher to sort of maneuver yourself, especially with the tanks that Pride are playing with. It does make it quite a bit tricky. You don't have any of that shield. You certainly don't have a Lucio to speed you around. So it's all on Inspire and Artemis just to keep you alive as you rotate.
I feel like Jats is getting a hard time getting set up here. The Johnsons are really doing well to pull away at the kills they need. Finding 2 there, the res to bring Kokoko back into this front line, but is split from the team. Commits to the jump in, the rest of the team finding it hard to get the angle. Pride, they really need to find a way into this point.
Yeah, I think one thing that the Johnsons are doing very, very well is you've got one of the Johnsons on the Junkrat. So even if the Bastion's trying to set up, you've got that constant poke. You've also got one of the other Johnsons playing McCree. Again, constant poke. We've got so many ultimates coming in. Here comes the Nano Winston to begin it.
The Gravitic Flux, though, keeps the pressure on. Even with Jasta set up, they're only really able to poke through, not finding any finishing touches there. High Noon finds the angle and does take out the Reinhardt, which is great. So they get this convert back, but you can see the rest of the team rotating right on back quickly and making this Jasta roll useless.
Yeah, you're gonna have. This is really, really well played there by the Johnsons, just pulling right back because Pride they used 5 ults there. I mean, you have to at that point. You have to take that sort of initiative and that step to just be able to get on the point in the first place. Artemis is the only one for Pride that still is holding onto the ult. Here comes the High Noon. Will it get any picks?
The bubble, they're looking to try and break through it. Johnson holds it just a little too long and actually ends up going down for it. That's unfortunate. Jasta playing well at that high ground there. They get the advantage. Johnson drops the hammer, but in the end gets taken out in the fight. So the battle's still in Pride's favor.
Yeah, and now you've got that Bastion. You've got him set up in a really good position. It's very far away, and it makes it really hard to try and reach them, especially with the heroes that you're playing. Like Reinhardt, useless in trying to attack. The only people that might be able to even touch them would be the DPS. But even then, on top of that, you've got to worry about the rest of Pride. So they are going to actually rotate right around, forcing the Bastion just to get out of where he's just sitting comfortably. But Johnson, in the meantime, falls. One of the Johnsons.
Inspire doing a lot of damage early in these fights. Great kill though onto the old mech here. They want to try and clean up the second tank while they're at it. Good picks onto the point here as well. The High Noon has to do a lot, but it's blocked out by a big shield, stopping it a lot. Shuts down the Gravitic Flux though onto Johnson with that stun there from the McCree, which is just great. Jester popping ult to try and find the picks, but ends up getting punched by a Lucio to die. That's so unfortunate.
No, that was actually really well played by Johnson there. They were able to pick it up, and now it's 99% because of the amount of poke that they were able to lay down. And also Jasta just wasn't able to get the burn on the rest of Johnson, so because of that they will have to relinquish at least the first map of Lijiang Tower here. And look, I don't know if we're going to keep up this Bastion 1 trick, and look, it can definitely work, but the higher you go up in these divs, the more and more sneaky and a lot of strats have to go into making a Bastion work, which is both the good and the bad of Bastion, is that you have to work, basically your whole team has to work around him to make it work. Otherwise, you're leaving him in the dust, he can't move, and because of that, it just easily just gets poked out. There will be some picks, some switch-ups from Johnson. Johnson will be playing this Tracer. Another Johnson may or may not be able to play the Zen and the Brig. So this is very divey. They're going to come from so many different angles now that they know a Bastion is on the playing field.
I just realized this is a genius play by them. I mean, they could switch character roles if they wanted, and we'd never know. Jasta booped off the point early here, which is a lot of damage removed. They lose Inspire as well, so they've got 0 damage output really on that front line, forcing them to back out straight away. The great boot from Johnson onto the double kill, and it's just completely in their control here.
Yeah, no, Jasta died immediately, and this is what you need if you're playing a comp like the Johnsons are, and that's because they don't have much sustain and heals, so they need the fights to be over as quickly as possible. Whereas Pride, they kind of want the fights to go on for as long as they bloody well please. They've got as many, all the heals out the wazoo if they can get it. So you're really relying on Johnson, the Tracer, to be able to get into the back line and blow up the Bastion from Sky High. However, it looks like they're going in.
They have to get in on that point and put some pressure down. Johnson with a great kill on Inspire. They go for the res, do manage to get off as well, so it balances back up into a 6-man fight. Coco lost though. Unfortunately, they're just not getting the early picks they need. Great mind positioning, the boop up as well to take Jasta out of there, forces them out of that corridor, and another fight won here for the Johnsons.
Yeah, sorry, who did the good mind position? Oh, Johnson. I really like that Johnson. Yeah, no, that Johnson's really good. Next fight will be actually really tricky for Pride unless they can play this exceptionally well by getting like Inspire into a really weird spot to be able to take that tack visor. Here comes the bomb. There's not many shields either in play. Taking out Jasta immediately, and Johnson just getting on top of them.
Shoots his Johnson right into the back line to find a single kill. Just slows down this push completely, and they're going to have heaps of time gained. And at 75%, you cannot afford to give up any of it.
Won that fight. And now, you know, you've still got that pulse bomb that Johnson's holding. You've still got the high noon that Johnson's just popped as well. And now the ball almost getting the boop off the Diva. That was beautiful bomb as well in the back.
Oh, great. Gets rid of a support. The front line's being pressured heavily. The tanks can't break through that at all. 94%. So Soldier had to jump on alone, but now that Trace is just bullying them. The rest of the team holds the bridge well, and now they can get on to Coco. This has to be huge. Bastion jumps the gap, hops in the window. You'll love the movement from Jasta, but can they get the kills to follow up? There's the one onto the support they needed. Continue this aggression, and they can make it happen, but the minefield on the objective is just absolutely zoning. The DPS is lost there for Pride, and now the stall can only be held by one Diva Bomb, which doesn't find much more than the D-Mech. The clean-up play, they just absolutely dominate this first map.
Who did again? I just remind me. Yeah, the Johnsons. No, that was actually really well played, even when they were down on their luck there from Pride being able to finally get a little bit of point presence. You had a lot of mobility from Johnson. Now, which Johnson you will never find out. But you had the Tracer, you had the ball, so even if they lost a couple of picks here and there, because of the speed or lack thereof coming from Pride, Pride and the incredible amount of speed from Johnson, you're able to get back to the point fast. Why I'm pointing that out is because Tracer fell very early. You also had Ball as well that had to go really in and out of that fight as he was just getting absolutely burnt down from the DPS of Inspire and Jasta, but you already had Tracer back within like 10 seconds. And I don't think the team of Pride just expected that. And even when they got onto the point, Johnson had a really, really good strats of just out-rotating, coming from different angles, and even when they only have the Zen Brig heals, which is perfectly acceptable. You know, they're able to make it work purely because the fights are fast, and also you have highly maneuverable characters that can grab health packs if need be.
Yeah, they definitely use their speed and momentum to just flank around where they needed to be. They made it super hard for Jasta to set up that Bastion. And like you're saying, the reduced heals doesn't matter, because if you're just not being hit by Bastion at all, you don't have to worry. So they just played the map to their advantage so well there.
Now, watch out. Is that not King's Row?
What?
Excuse me? We're actually going to see some Hollywood. Now, this is Pride's pick. They will be going onto the Hollywood, and I guess that makes sense. I'm trying to think on in terms of like Bastion, you definitely can poke. Pretty much the whole map, you can do poke. And like the first point, you want to sit like right at the back and just keep poking until they eventually get to the point again. Like I explained earlier, they will, once they do, all the abilities would be drained, and that's where Bastion just comes into their own. But we've seen now that Johnson is perfectly capable of working around what can be a really, really hard hero if you aren't, hero meaning Bastion, if you can't play around it well. And Johnson proved that they can in Lijiang Tower. So will they have a little team meeting and take a leaf out of Envy's book, or will they keep sticking to Jasta on that Bastion? And look, it's not like it can't work. You had Kukako, and Beat Boop. They were trying to dive in together, but without the added support that was on the side of the Johnsons, it made it quite a bit harder.
Yeah, it's definitely harder to get into an objective that you've lost with a Bastion. I mean, you know, like the control and the movement is so hard. Those tanks try to dive to make space, and then he gets left behind, and yeah, it is definitely harder. So Johnson's taking those points early for them actually really made it their position a lot stronger, and you can see how it helped them to just kind of clean up those maps.
So there's no reason why Johnson just don't dive again. Have one of the Johnsons in the back line. Always been an absolute pest. Perhaps taking like an Ashe, which I think they will be running. Maybe just to poke away. I don't really know why you'd actually run the Ashe without at least a Mercy to help land those headshots and burn down Jasta from a distance, because they're playing a little bit of a hybrid comp actually. You've got quite a bit of poke coming from one of the Johnsons, Ashe, whereas the rest of them, they kind of want to just be in your face and just diving really hard. On the other side, however, Pride, they are going to double down on that Bastion pick. In fact, nothing is going to change on their attack, and they will be obviously getting that high ground for the Bastion, and then their tanks will be, I guess, sandwiching them in as they move and just let Bastion rip into the Johnsons.
Being poked by a Johnson isn't always fun, you know, so you got to be very careful about positioning as they push in. We see Jasta trying to find that. They take that high ground, which I like. They want that strength above. The dive up from Johnson, trying to take it back, but unfortunately they've already made that space they needed to get the value. We see the Diva on the objective trying to just hold off as Jasta sets up on the cart and gets that line of sight they needed for the beginning here. So far, a good push attempt. They find the second kill they're looking for. This is good. Pushes them right on back to that corner. They do lose Kokoko there with the nade, but they've got the damage output to really keep this going. Jasta with an angle, trying to keep the pressure on as much as possible, but they know that they've got to be careful of that line of sight. They nano boost onto the monkey to put the pressure back on them and make them push out. Some time well burnt there and only a single tick given.
Yeah, that was actually a really fast nano as well from Johnson. Able to, land on the monkey, forcing it to fall back. Beat Boop's res, that actually helps because you don't have to wait as long for Pride. They will be re-engaging here, almost exactly the same, although there is an ult, and that is Beat Boop's bomb.
Let's see if they can make a good use of it. They nano boost it now, Pride. Looking for the space. The bomb is massive, though. Takes out 2 crucial players in the fight. They lose their mech as well. That's the whole fight ended.
That was really well played, actually, as Kokako was diving in with that nano. Immediately, Johnson answered the call by bombing into the backline. I mean, Johnson isn't Diva. Into the backline and killing Ana. I mean, yes, I think it was Inspire that also fell, but the bigger pick is the Ana, because obviously you want Artemis constantly damage boosting Jasta. Speaking of which, Jasta does now have the configuration tank, so we'll be looking to use that.
Ooh, Diva Bomb into a great position to take out Ash as well. They follow up with the Monkey Rage, dude, to keep the aggression going. Jess is just pumping in that damage to help with that team fight there. As they're on this point, they find their second tick. Now the Johnsons not able to get back on and stop it, so point will go their way.
Okay, this is where Bastion's going to struggle quite a bit if Johnson can take this higher ground as quickly as they can, simply because the Bastion, I mean, look, you can definitely rotate to the high ground, but you don't want to let them do that, and they have. That is very unfortunate, because now that Bastion's on the high ground, I don't know, you're going to try dive up, he's going to be in your face. It's all up to the Tracer trying to land some sort of pulse bomb in the back line. You do have the nano, though, that you can put onto Johnson, and by that I mean Winston, and then try and sort of make space that way. It seems like they just want to go to the card.
Interesting game. They managed to get the sleep onto Jasta, the noon as well, taking rid of one of both Anas, in fact, go out of the fight here. Jasta is going to use that ult from the high ground. That strength of being up above is good, and you can see wins the Tracer fight, going for the aerial shot. They drop off that high ground to do so. So let's see if losing this high ground actually makes it a bit more difficult for them.
Yeah, and now that they have been able to have this really nice defense, this is where Johnson can now take that high ground as Tracer, as the whole team. What am I even talking about? The entire team, because that's when Bastion tries to move along. That his weakness is where you just come on top of him all at once, and he has to look in about 6 different directions. Or okay, I know what I said. Shut up. Here comes the bomb.
Johnson comes up.
Shut up.
6 people. Oh my god, Pat. This is a family-friendly show. Okay, well, the Johnsons are actually winning out this battle here. The hold will continue.
That's good. They came out on top of that fight. That is really good to see.
Yeah, we're gonna get banned for sure.
Yeah, no. It's been a great pleasure casting with you guys. I've been Pap. This is Stranger. We'll never catch you in the next one. Anyway, coming into this next fight, the Johnsons have both support ults on Raps, whereas Pride, they have a lot to actually fall back on here. You've got the Nano. We've seen it a lot onto the Winstons today, so we'll probably see that again as they try and take the high ground back off of the Johnsons.
They've got strength at this high ground. Nano boost onto the Monkey to pressure their supports down below. The Tracer to commit a little bit to that too. Great use of the rally here to give a lot of sustain to that tank line right at the top. There's a big fight going on. None of it's happening near the cart, so that thing's just rolling on back here. Kokako uses their ult to find the kill. Diva Bomb here looking for a second. Johnson lands a great pulse on Jasta to remove the DPS pressure here. The Johnsons should be all right. They've still got that high ground control. They've got the man advantage.
No, they're looking, excuse me, they're looking really good. They've got 1 minute remaining prior to try and push this in. Inspire, Jasta, Artemis, and Crystal all with their ultimates. It's really nice saying names. Incredible. Whereas Johnson, they do actually have both tank ults, excuse me. So, you know, tracking some sort of, there we go, a bomb into the back line as they go in as well. Really good bubble though.
Yeah, I like this kind of play. Again, We get the old Nano onto the Monkey. Kokoko trying to find something squishy. Bob's on the cart, so that thing ain't going nowhere anytime soon. That is a huge sleep to shut down the High Noon. 0 value for Inspire. They're going to be really upset about that one. 20 seconds on the clock, and this cart still not moving.
I know, and Johnson, Tracer on the Johnson side almost has another pulse bomb, but that's a big pick. Johnson, the Diva, has actually fallen, and also Pride has got the high ground too, although Kokoko has unfortunately given up his life. Bastion just sitting on payload, burning down Johnson, and now it seems like a double.
Oh baby, man! Inspire's was put to sleep again. They're going to be like completely pissed off at how much they're taking naps in the middle of these fights. Overtime's here, and Inspire's the only one who could be there to try and stop it. That timer will go just before Kokoko can reach. Good, decent push.
Yeah, actually really decent push there, taking that high ground advantage when they could, Pride, and allowing that Bastion just to burn down as many people as possible. I can't forget Inspire. Yes, his High Noons, they just couldn't catch a break, unfortunately. They really couldn't. But, you know, the High Noons that they tried to pull out just couldn't quite work. But the headshots that they landed, they were able to eventually push up almost to capture second point there. But, man, that was such a clutch pulse bomb from Johnson, the one that plays Tracer. Double supports, and there wasn't any outside help either. So, really well played. Now the Johnsons will be attacking on Hollywood. It seems another dive, which I don't mind at all. And then Hanzo pick. While I actually don't mind this, to be honest, Stranger, you can now sit in the back line and really poke away at the Bastion, because no shields, no immortality field. The only thing really keeping him alive is the defense matrix and, you know, the mercy heals.
This is going to be interesting as well. They finally have a moment here where Pride are able to have their Bastion set up right from the start in the advantage position that they want. If it doesn't work here, then it's just not going to work tonight, and this will be a telling tale.
No, indeed. Yeah, they've got that defensive position all set up and ready to go. Inspire as well. They're now on the Soldier 76, ready to click those heads. The other Johnson, not the Hanzo one, will be playing the Ash, so there's a lot of poke coming down. And then on top of that, they will have to watch out for the dive.
Let's see how they handle 6 Johnsons coming at their face super fast. A father's nightmare. Good rotation around the side here. Breaks that line of sight and forces Jester to drop down already. Now that they know Jester's off the high ground, could be an opportunity for them to break. And I see that they've got the Hanzo on that other angle just to poke away. Smart play by them here. They've tried to move them off of the high ground that they wanted, and it's completely worked in their favor.
Yeah, I think as well what they're doing is building up Johnson's Nano just to fall onto the Winston to burn them even faster than that. They're about to die though, but the Nano comes in clutch. They're so fast. Huge.
Early Dragons as well. It barely finds the finishing touch. It's actually the Diva and Ana that are doing all the damage. Apparently, Ana's a DPS now. They managed to get all the kills they need and finding this first point pretty quickly.
I mean, you colored it for me, and that's basically they just out-rotated and out-positioned Pride there. They came from different, like 3 different angles, I reckon, all on top of, again, it's always the Bastion. You always have Johnson, the Hanzo, shooting, putting that pressure on. You also had Ana as well, landing those clutch antis that force the tanks of Pride not to be able to dive in as much as they really want to. Now, like you said, they've got the better position, technically speaking, the Bastion. You've got that high ground already, very defensive as the Johnsons will try and push in.
Good high ground control here for Pride. Cart's still moving along. I like this. Good contest there from Kokoko to just buy a little bit more time. Got to be careful of that rotate. A good Hanzo arrow just inspires straight away. They go for the res, but this Diva Bomb placement up the top pushes them all off instantly. I love that kind of aggression. Again, Monkey jumps up. I thought it was going to be good, but actually Jess has got that positioning nicely down to get rid of them off that high ground. And so far, they're in control here.
They are. That was a really clutch defense that they had to win. Nice little sleep onto Winston. I don't really think that will come, that anything will come of it though. But now Pride, they do have the ultimates to fall back on. You've got the Nano from Crystal. You've also got Jaster's configuration tank too. And Inspire's Tac Visor from the high ground is going to be really brutal for someone like the Ash who can't shut it down instantly, and especially for someone like the Ana and even the Brick who are trying just to maneuver with their tanks. It's going to be really interesting to see how Johnson's going to think about like attacking maybe you dragons the high ground.
Good.
Wow.
There from Beat Boop. Puts the monkey off the high ground. No problems whatsoever. Yeah. Jumps up late now. The sleep is missed though, so that could be problematic for them. They do lose the Ana here. Jaster comes in hot with the damage though. Inspire as well, saying this is my fight to win. And they've held it off once again.
The 2-minute delay has come up and I'm looking at chat. Oh boy.
Oh boy, okay.
Anyway, hello 2 minutes from the future.
Yeah.
I see it all. Yeah, again, really nice defense there from Pride. They do need this, and it's almost worth... I don't know why they're not actually playing the Trace, that it was so annoying for Jaster having to look behind them, even having like a Sombra or something like that. Now that they know they're always going to be in that one spot, but here comes the Tac Visor from behind, in fact.
Great flanking position with the damage buff as well to make sure that that really hurts. Cart not moving at all, so this fight has to be won by the Johnsons to gain any value out of it. And still, this high ground is just so superior.
Yeah, this is why they picked Hollywood, clearly. Very, very good.
Oh,
they're trying again to dive, but it's just so hard.
Bob? They used the Bob to move the cart there. Even though he got put to sleep, the cart moved him along with it. And they actually gained some good space out of there. I like it. Dragons through the building. Diva bombs right to the back. Beat Boot was looking for the kills, but actually gets taken out outside of the mix. So an unfortunate timing for them. Except Jaster just pumps out another ult. Press Q whenever you want, and you've got it under control. They've got to make sure they get some kills out of that. Kill on Inspire there with the Diva bomb. Good value out of it, but Jaster's still got control up there.
Yeah, you need to regroup here. They're trickling a tiny bit, the Johnsons. Yeah, so they'll fall back here. Finally, one of the Johnsons has decided to go Trace, which I think is the better pick. You had Jaster just looking in that one direction. And when the Bastion can just see all 6 players are like, okay, cool, I don't have to worry about any flanks. Now this will be tickling in the back of their mind that they will have somebody to look out for. Here comes the next dive. Nano, but...
Oh, huge sleep. No one wakes them up early as well, so great value out of it. Unfortunately, Ana does bite the dust there on the Johnson side. Inspire's pumping out great damage. They have to go to cart to stop it, but Jaster's found a great angle for themselves. And the Johnsons' only way to make this happen here, they're going to have to combine their 6 small Johnsons into one big one.
It's like Power Rangers. Our forces combined, we can take on anything, and then just start doing those really weird moves. Anyway, last final fight. They got 30 seconds remaining. Cart only really has to go. Yeah, one fight would win it all, but Inspire has got the Tac Visor sitting on high ground. Who can forget Jaster as well, sitting pretty already with another ult too. It's going to be very hard for this Winston to be able to really get much value.
Another attack visor. Artemis just making sure that that really packs a punch while Jaster pumps out the rockets one after the other. Johnsons have had a terrible time here on this final push as Jaster tears through McCree before the stun can even have the effect they want. A huge hold right at the final hurdle. Great play from Pride.
Really, really well played there. The Johnsons just couldn't put their all their little ones together. Funcast. Pride, no, that was really well played there by Pride. Finally, the Bastion on the defense comes up really, really strong. I mean, look, just burning through all the Johnsons. And now it is the map for the Johnsons to pick out of. Let me just pull it up really quick. We've got Junkertown, Watchpoint, Gibraltar, and Dorado. All of them, except one, I would say, is really good for pirate ship. So Stranger, I would say if you are the Johnsons, I would actually take them to Watchpoint Gibraltar. Junkertown, just classic pirate ship if you're attack. You've got Dorado, lots of sort of that high ground advantage. They all got to push through that one choke. It's really, really hard. Watchpoint Gibraltar, however, especially if you're defending, you've got so much high ground if you're the Johnsons to try and move Jasta off the payload or mix him up. There's so many different angles that you can attack from and so many different angles that you can defend from against the Bastion. Bastion, however, he will struggle on Watchpoint Gibraltar, maybe not so much on defense like we saw in Hollywood, because as soon as you put the Bastion on the high ground, it's a lot harder to crowbar him off as an attacker. But I really think they need to stick on that Tracer pick. I think that pick was a little bit too late for them. They couldn't build up that pulse bomb fast enough because they don't have to worry about an immortality field stopping the push. So I think that might be a shout. But we'll see what they want to do.
So the Johnsons pick the map and they take Junkertown. So that actually probably puts Pride in a pretty good spot here.
Really good spot, I'd say. Oh no. I mean, maybe they have something that we don't know in their Johnson pocket. But like, okay, reason why I would say that Junkertown is really hard. You get on a payload as a Bastion, you get Orisa, you get Sigma, you're laughing. And you can even rotate to the high ground very, very easily, just leaving like a Lucio on point, especially second point I'm talking about specifically here. And then when you're defending, I mean, do I even need to explain? We saw why Orisa's really good. We see why the Sniper's really good, because line of sight is just, you just look at spawn and you just press M1 if you're if you're the Bastion. But I am so happy to eat my words if the Johnsons have something that we just can't see at the moment. But what I can't see is how they're going to get past this really, really tough attack that I think Pride's going to pull out.
Yeah, they picked it, so they obviously have something in mind.
Yeah.
There's no way they just chose a map that they knew was going to be blatantly better for the enemy team. So I guess we see a Widow here. Maybe they feel confident in winning that line of sight battle, but with the shields that we're going to see coming out for Jasta, I don't know, it's going to be hard to break through that.
Yeah, so what they're going to play, the Johnsons, it's like quite a mixed up. I know there's a name for this comp. It's just not hitting my brain at the moment. But you basically try to disrupt as much as possible and allow the DPS of the Johnsons, so Tracer, just to get in and delete what the ball could not. Then you've got as well the Widowmaker, so popping people up, pushing people around out of shield. This is the only way they're going to win. It's a lot of pressure on the DPS. I'm not going to lie to you, Stranger.
Well, let's see. The Johnsons picked the map. They wanted to defend. Well, they didn't pick to defend, but they are defending to start. I mean, down goes the Tracer early, which is going to be a bit of a slow to their hold here. And Spire does manage to even up the field a little bit and find the kill onto the Widow, so taking quite a big threat out of that battle. So far, the Johnson's being pushed back quite a lot. Yeah,
they lost both DPS instantly, Tracer and Widowmaker, and because of that, you just got to fall right the heck back, and that just allows Jasta to maneuver wherever the heck he wants to on that high ground there, and including Inspire, they can be wherever the heck they want to be. This is all down, unfortunately, to the DPS, and it's so hard, like you can see, Johnson falling again to even get behind them.
Yeah, I like that Jazz is not committing to get on the card the whole time as well. Happy to play around a little bit with the rest of the map and use that high ground advantage. They do finally kill Coco there to get a little bit of damage going out. Great sleep dart onto the Wrecking Ball. Does stall the cart here for a second. The whole match is kind of stalled there for a second. Well, everyone waited for players to rejoin. They're just looking for these cheeky picks. I like Johnson's positioning now a little bit better to try and break these lines aside.
Yeah, they've taken at least some high ground to collapse on top of Jasta. Bomb in the middle doesn't get anything, but forces out Transcendence.
Yeah, I don't think it was even needed as well. They kind of actually had the lane blocked up. Johnson on the Widow still not quite hitting the shots they want to. That minefield will go down at the back of the card as we get paused on.
As we get OCE pauses do. One of the Johnsons said, sorry, my internet.
Which one?
Which one could it be? Yeah, like you could blame one of your teammates and go, OMG Johnson, and we wouldn't know. I think we're getting maybe just a little bit of latency spikes, perhaps. Yeah, they're already ready to go. Inspire has popped the tack visor, and Artemis is damage boosting it too. So with Johnson's Transcendence relinquished, it's going to be very, very hard to survive here. One thing we didn't get to pick out as well is they're now going the double sniper route. The Johnsons, they've got the Hanzo too. So they're really just trying to outpoke the Bastion, and that definitely can work. It's just the unfortunate of losing that sort of first really crucial defense. Now all of the Johnsons are out in the open, and it's basically duck season. Oh, but that might help.
Yeah, kill on Crystal there, removing a main healer. Unfortunately, their attack visor didn't quite connect as they could have wanted. They've burned through an ult there and lost the support, so gonna be a little harder, but they still managed to be getting a bit of space. Let's see if Jasta can find any finishing touches with that ult here. Pumping through. The rally gives them so much healing and protection on the Johnson side though, so they won't give up more than just the single kill. Coco's trying to get rid of that backline, actually gets bullied out themselves, and the Johnsons with a good pure damage push managed to get rid of a lot of them. Can they stop this cart fully though?
Yeah, I think the Widow Johnson just needs to get a really crucial pick here, but it seems like the tanks are coming in clutch, however. Inspire, unfortunately, the D-Mech, though, onto Johnson. This might actually be winnable all of a sudden as the rest of the team of Pride come back.
Only the Wrecking Ball to stall right now. Widow can put some good damage in, but without being able to hit the headshots makes it a bit harder. Needs to find that line of sight on the healers to reduce that sustain, and you like the positioning here. Should be able to clean up too. Out comes Inspire's second visor. Does get rid of one of those supports, which is big. They have got still 3 here on this cart to stop it from going. Kokoko's doing everything they can, but another Tranquility coming out to stall this cart, and they've brought it all the way down to a minute left. Diva Bomb straight up a beat boop, gets them some space, and does manage to make the cart hit.
That's unfortunate. I mean, what else are you to do? This will now just be a cleanup for Pride. And because it was quite a late cleanup too, this will allow the Bastion to get the high ground really, really easily and make it even harder for somebody like the Widow and like the Hanzo to be able to have that space and be allowed to sort of poke it down, especially with these heals as well. Again, nothing wrong with it, but unfortunately, unlike what we saw before in Lijiang Tower, these fights aren't fast. They're not quick. They're really long, and because of that, the likes of Crystal and Artemis can simply just out survive the healers of the Johnsons.
Yeah, this Pride favored map going in Pride's favor. Who would have thought? Johnson's mind does manage to get rid of Jasta though, so they've removed the big issue. Inspire's going to have to do all the damage. They can't stop temporarily while Kokoko uses his ult to try and zone them out, but actually gets taken out on the way out the door. Tried to make the escape. I like Beep Boop's dive here up onto the Widow to try and get rid of them, but the Johnsons still seem to have that man advantage here.
No, they will. This will be a reset. Oh, never mind that. They're going to go fully in. I don't know if that visor's really necessary at the moment. They already had to sort of lightly retreat. The Winston's going to dive in as well on top of that. But I think this just needs to be a very light retreat. They actually didn't lose anyone Pride, which was very lucky, actually. Very low monkey of Kukako as they dove in with a Discord orb on. But yeah, now you've got the ults of both support ults for the Johnsons, and Jasta, though, they do have that tank.
Yeah, defensive rally, extremely powerful as well. Let's see if Jasta's tank can break through that craziness. You do see the rally come up in response. Dragons into a great position. Does force him to go out from that stair while Johnson's ult The Diva, of course.
Which one?
Bombing up the back line to take a healer. And it looks like the Johnsons still have good control of the map here.
Yeah, I mean, we could be really mean and just not specify at all and go, all right, you guess what we're trying to cast. All right, so we heard the announce that 60 seconds remaining on the clock. Not too many ults, although Crystal does have the nano boost. Obviously, it will go on to Winston in probably the next dive from now. Inspire, though, is actually close to the tack visor, so we could actually see that nanoed. On the other side, however, Johnson, they really only have the mines to fall back on, and that is it.
I like that aggression from Coco, straight to the back for the healer, but they lose Inspire, so there's nothing coming up there anytime soon. Push still going. Beat Boop drops the bomb. Ends up getting taken out by a mine there. That's really
another bomb.
Where was that mine? I actually didn't see
bomb.
that. Yeah, different. Did not see that happening. They could not get back in the mech.
Smaller Johnson. Okay, I'm sorry. There was actually a dive, yeah, by Kukaku, but because the Zen survived that somehow, does have another Transcendence, although Johnson falls.
Inspire's ult does come into play here at the end. They use everything they've got in the tank to make sure they hit the second point. It's all or nothing in this moment, and they do want to hit that second objective to make things a little harder. There's a great kill on both supports. They should have this in the bag now, since they have a lot better sustain than the Johnsons. Only a baby Diva to stall, and in overtime, they're going to walk it on up. A great play by them.
That was really, really well played. Now we're entering the third point, and you're hoping this is where I was about to say the Widowmaker, but that one of the Johnsons, has actually switched over to the McCree instead, just to maybe try and stop the dives from Beat Boop and Kukaku. But I'd say the bigger threat is honestly Jasta. But here comes another dive, just trying to take that high ground off of the Johnsons, who have very smartly taken that. Dragons comes through, but I don't think we'll get anybody.
I think they were thinking they might have been committing a bit harder to that staircase there, and unfortunately it didn't go. So unfortunate ult use. Jasta sitting amongst the mines, seems a little unfazed by it, not much of a problem at all, doesn't find any value there. So looks like the Johnsons are going to have a hard play here, as that nano boost for the monkey is ready once again. Up it goes, so the aggression can continue from Coco, who's trying to take control of that high ground, jump straight onto the back line. They have to use the rally. Johnson's ult is big. It's all open without
Johnson.
the monkey Barrett. That is a pretty big Johnson.
That's a pretty big Johnson.
And
that's a double Johnson for the price of one. Yeah, so 20 seconds remaining on the clock here, Stranger, and Johnson, the Zen one, does have Transcendence in the back pocket, and both DPS of the Johnsons are arriving very speedily towards their own. On the other side, there are also, Inspire taking down one of the Johnsons. That's really big, actually.
Yeah, putting your Johnson away so early into a fight like that is very valuable. They have got the high ground strength here, but that cart's moving, and it's moving fast. Great jump up from Coco, forces out the Tranquility. They've got Jasta's ult here as well, which should be able to find the pickups. Diva Bomb straight to the back, good positioning, and it does confirm the kill. They commit the visor as well. Everything is going out onto the table here in overtime, and the stall from Wrecking Ball is going to be one of the few things to hold them back. Noon from the Johnsons, but the bubble placement's fantastic. Diva Bomb is great to take a support out. That Noon does remove the mech as well. So Johnsons could be in for a good hold here if they can get through this bubble from Coco. They'll be all right. That overtime is getting awfully close to trickling away with these boops. So the Johnsons doing well not to lose any kills right on the front. Nano boost onto Coco gives them the sustain, even with that Discord orb on them. They've got to be careful not to C9. That was awfully close. The minefield is a little deep from the Wrecking Ball, unfortunately, for Johnson, so won't have much value in the final moments here as they sneak it on up in the middle of the fight.
Okay, the only good thing there was that it actually did click into overtime. So if the Johnsons can cap with time, it will give a huge advantage. But again, we saw how good Jasper can be on the defense with that Bastion pick. And this is where I'm a little bit scared, to be honest. For the Johnsons, Pride, they're looking so good in those defensive defensively, excuse me. And, you get Inspire on the high ground as well as Jasta. And, I mean, they're really loving this Winston Diva too. So, being able to dive in from all these different angles and yet still have that very consistent and very threatening damage coming out from Bastion is going to be really tricky. They will switch it up only slightly for the attacking Johnsons. That will be the Ash instead of the Kree. On the other side, absolutely nothing. It's their bread and butter comp that we've come to know.
They're definitely, I think, made a mistake picking this map here. The Johnsons, they kind of gave Pride everything they needed, even though they did manage to get that into the overtime section.
Would you say that they're too big for their Johnsons?
I think they think their Johnson's a bit bigger than it actually is.
A bit too big, yeah. It's not big enough.
So let's see if they can bring some big Johnson energy here into this push and get it in quicker than Pride could.
Okay, so again, of course, they're going to take that high ground here, Pride, and Johnson, the ball, is going to look to just disrupt the back line, just try and push Crystal or something like that into a wrong position, but the first to fall is actually Inspire, rezzed up though instantly.
Yep, they're going to balance that back up into a fair fight. Jasta here is kind of forced into a single position. Good rock there to disrupt them once again. Keeping it going strong. Inspire does get some good damage value though there to get rid of the Hanzo. And Jasta's going to be able to be free. They cannot get around this corner without too much pressure from the damage. Getting rid of Kokoko there, big value. But they have to be so careful of the DPS on the high ground.
Yeah, they're going to have to think of a way to try and dislodge Jasper from that high ground because it's very hard with the lack of shields that they have. Speaking of shields, Johnson instead is going onto the Sigma. The ball got instantly deleted, but the bigger pig, I reckon, is actually Artemis falling.
Yeah, losing a lot of healing there as well. Crystal sees how the fight's going and backs right on up. The rest of the tanks have to get back out. The crush down from Deep Boop just to flex on that Johnson. Beautiful.
Yeah, that Johnson got squished, but now they can hopefully move the cart. Nobody. Nobody's on the cart. We needed Johnson on cart.
They really have to lay down their Johnson onto this cart right now to keep that momentum going. Oh man, rock out with your Johnson now. That's what I like.
I love it.
Their momentum right here is fantastic though. Even with the ult from Jasta up at that high ground, they're keeping the cart rolling. They use both support ults here with no one around really.
No, I agree. I think they'll really want that Transcendence back, and especially that rally. Although, if they can actually get Jasper here, I reckon that it can push the point. It's going to be close, but they're going to do it. And because of these late sort of picks, I don't know why they fluxed though, but these late kind of picks will allow what happened with Pride towards the beginning, and they'll be able to take that high ground position really quickly. So you can see how hard Johnson Ball pushed just to get that kill onto Winston too. So this will this just lets the Johnson set up really, really well in preparation for wherever Jasper might try and set up.
Yeah, they're really pushing their Johnsons up into every hole they can to get as much space early into these pushes. And it's getting them all the room they need. Look at the movement on this cart here as Jester and them just barely getting set up. They actually lose Inspire there with a crucial headshot. The res will bring that fight back to fair, but the cart continues to roll.
No, it does, and I mean that's a really big thing. Here comes the bomb. I don't think it will pick anybody up. Mines though in the back, trying desperately. It might actually kill Artemis here, who's about 1 HP, but it's so back and forth. Johnson, the Bob, seventh Johnson, is now there. Does get immediately burnt down, and like you said, the cart has continuously moved throughout and hasn't really allowed Jasper to get much value because of it.
So much space gain. Jasta does get set back up. They use the tranquility here just to kind of counter Monkey's nano boost, and actually they get the kill as well. So great play with the stun use there. This cart can keep going. Jasta has to commit ult because they know they need to find the kills, except they're being pressured on every angle, no matter where they look, and they sneak it out.
They actually sneak it out. The Johnsons sneak the cut to point B there. Now we're up to point C, and Jasta, I think I was calling Jasta fell quite late there, and Crystal. So this will be just like point B. They'll be able to find a really good position, especially with these sites, knowing where the enemy are at all times. In Spire, though, they do have their tac visor to use, as well as Artemis. They'll be able to push quite aggressively here, but Johnson, the Brig, does actually have the rally to try and bolster up the backline.
I like this pressure from the Johnsons up top. They don't want to just give them that high ground for free. They even use the mines to disperse it nicely, which puts Inspire in a bad position. They get bullied out from the side. They find a good couple of extra picks. Even with Jasta set up there, they're now got that man disadvantage, and it's going to be hard for them to just sit and fire out the damage that they need to stop this push. The momentum here from the Johnsons is impressive.
No, it's actually a really fast push here, and you see Johnson, the Bulls, just trying to get up onto that high ground, trying to move Jasta, because as you push the cart forward, Jasta will now be behind you. We see that right now, and they don't really have many answers for it. The rally does come out, though.
Backline keeping it pressure on. I like it. Another Tranquility here to counter out Kai, who's got both ults on them now, the Nano, and uses their own to sustain through the fight too. But meanwhile, the rest of the team's getting dominated. The DPS output from the Johnsons right now is fantastic, and the attempt at the hold is becoming more and more difficult.
It is, although they weren't able to really push cart much throughout that area, so that allows Jester just a configuration tank, as you do, as they come out and try to get pick possibly onto the supports. But Bob is nearing for Johnson.
Man, Jester uses the ult there, but there was no connecting shot, unfortunately for them. Doing well here, Pride, to hold the car as it is. This bomb placement could be fantastic if the barriers can't come up, and that's exactly how it goes. 3 huge picks, completely shuts down, and they even managed to get another one on the way out.
Yeah, no, that's really big. 1 minute 30 seconds on the clock. There are a couple of ultimates, though, the Johnsons have in their back pocket. You've got the Bob, like I said, but now you've got mines, and Johnson, the Bull, has been playing really, really well with these mines. Always on top of either Jester or on top of Inspire. Just been really, really annoying, and at least getting 1 or 2 picks, which is what you need with these kind of heals. On the other side, however, there's no ults actually, so it's quite hard for for these guys that want to obviously defend.
Yeah, I like this. Yeah, go for a different angle. The main lane was becoming very difficult for them to push through. So try something a bit different. Don't let Jasta just be set up to counter it out. So let's see how they play at this high ground. Jasta staying up to commit to the battle. A lot of that damage absorbed. They move over. The stun takes them off that high ground. Minefield to drop in as well, but Inspires hit the shot to take the Widow out, removing a crucial DPS out of the push. They got to get themselves out of this high ground and push in for the damage. Bob getting taken out there by Jasta for free, which probably gave Jasta a hell of a lot of ult charge there. Another great Tranquility gives them sustain. They need to manage to get the kills out of it. Jasta's just getting solo flux in the corner. Great kill from Inspire there, Johnson. On Inspire there, sorry, from our Zen. That, oh my god, Zen popping off again. Now there's a Johnson that likes his balls.
Okay. Just need to recover from that one. Yes, it is overtime, and the Bastion is again got the configuration tank, but I think the bigger kills is Inspire, who's just absolutely tearing up that backline, and I think the morale of the Johnsons have truly diminished as Pride take another map, and that was the one that the Johnsons picked as well, and I just don't think that was the right play.
Yeah, maybe they were too busy thinking about the pick on their own side, and they didn't consider how that pick will affect their team and the opposite team and how it'll be so good for them. Great Diva Bomb position there as well. Fantastic placement from Beat Boop.
Yeah, no, it really, really well played there. And now, because of that, the Pride, they move up, and it's now just it's going to be really, really hard. 2-1. This is now Johnson. They cannot drop a map from here. Pride, however, they're just looking so strong because of where they are and how they're positioning now. They're able to get the Bastion where they need to. I really don't think Junkertown was that map pick. It is, again, in their favor, though, as they will be able to pick the 2CP map, Johnson, out of Temple of Anubis, Hanamura, or Volsky Industries. Bastion's honestly pretty good on all of them that we've, especially the way that Jester has been playing with the team. Temple of Anubis, you've got those really long sight lines. You've got that high ground. It's very hard to push into. Hanamura, you've got, if we're speaking defensively wise, you've got that little bit of high ground next to that house with the mega pack that you can sit on and just absolutely burn the damage down. Volsky Industries, perhaps the easiest, in fact, because you just hold right back behind the point and just let the team of Johnsons come to them. So it's just deciding the lesser of the three evils and more like where your team comps are really shining, and where they shone was when they were able to get one of the Johnsons in the backline to really hammer away at the Bastion.
Yeah, Pride really finding their feet as well in that match there. I was a bit worried for some of the time that they were struggling to get set up, but now really coming together, I think, and they're figuring out how. I think Johnsons are struggling to break through that Bastion some of the time, and in the midst of the chaos, sometimes Jasta gets free and then they just go on a rampage, or if they focus Jasta, Inspire's there to make sure to say, hey, there's actually 2 DPS, so you got to worry about me as well. And so they've managed to break through a couple of times that were, even when they were focusing down that down Jasta there, they're still having a hard time from a different angle as well. So they're not making it easy on them.
No, it's certainly not easy. So Hanamura, why would they pick it? Well, if they're going to go sort of the brawl route, which we haven't actually seen at all, so I highly doubt that, but you can actually just rotate all the way around the point and just try and like make the Bastion move a lot, which is kind of what you're aiming for at this point. But if you're going to dive, then I suppose you just take that high ground and then just start just trying to collapse onto Jasta. Again, tried and true composition from Pride as they will be rolling out on the attack. The only real difference is Inspire instead of the 76 onto the McCree, just to give that little bit more pressure onto one of the Johnsons if they decide to dive in, especially if they dive in alone. So it's all up to a dive defense Hanamura, which is actually known to be quite difficult unless you've got some extremely good team coordination here.
Yep, this is going to be, like I was saying, it didn't matter what map, getting Chester down on these maps is going to be super hard. And if you let them take any point control, they're going to be pretty concrete solid on it. So already you see Jester breaking in some damage. They're trying to build up that old charge. The Johnsons have to look to play around this chokehold as much as possible.
Yeah, the Johnsons have to go quite hard here as the first dive comes in. Not too successful, but the anti-nade is bigger.
Yeah, good pressure on them. They managed to get a couple through. Jasta sneaking the kill out onto that Monkey Johnson. So that's fantastic. And they managed to take out the second tank too. I love how clinically slow this is. They're just taking in one by one. They don't want to commit too hard there. Great kill on the supports. They're both gone. So the Magrinos, they got to back it up. The DPS have seen enough. And they are going to be trickled out too.
No, that was really well played there by Jasta. Slow and steady, and they won that point. And now that you're coming into this, and it's been so quick that not too many ults, even defender-wise, has really popped up. You've got Johnson's High Noon, obviously the McCree, that will be coming out. That's at least for some space. But as of right now, these dives, and you can see the communication. They're discussing, okay, we're going to dive the high ground, and as the tanks dive the high ground, we're going to go behind them with our Bastion.
A good boot keeps Kokoko off that high ground though with the nano, so they force to play towards the point. They take out one. This Noon's line of sight is fantastic. Unfortunately, not going to connect as they would have liked. This push has really been slowed down and kind of broken apart by the Johnsons though. So see if they commit overly to it. A good Diva bomb. Does find the one as well, so Inspire's out there, battle, and that's a lot of damage removed. I think this hold is pretty much in place.
Yeah, although I think they're still going to try and push this, but with with Beat Boot falling there, you do have to fall back now, and you've got to be careful now. If you're Pride, you've got Rally, you've got the Johnson with the blade, you've got the Johnson with the high noon. Would you believe it? But Jester does have the configuration tank, and if they're in the right position, they can pop off. But the Johnsons has actually been doing really well of making it really hard to get basically one shot from one of the bastions. What would you call them? Bazookas? I don't know what comes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tank shells, great blade here. They're really grouped up, so this should have a lot of value, but the bump backs has really made it hard for them to get in. That's a great use of Kokoko's ult there. They do go down, and the rest of the team, unfortunately, didn't capitalize on the space made, so their push, again, ruined, and they reset fully.
No, I think you do have to reset at that point there. Inspire though, high noon for next fight if they can get to the high ground. But I think that was just really well played there by the Johnson on the monkey, just being able to displace the members of Pride and allowing the rest of the team just to kind of collapse on the rest on Pride there. And because of that, very swift. Next fight though, Johnson, the Arna, will have nano, so possibly going on to the Winston Johnson as they try and stop the DPS ults of Pride.
Jessa sitting down that main lane with the Noon behind, getting rid of a good pick there onto the old Genji. They've got the barriers up on the point, but Jas has got that ult to pump some damage, finding those squishy targets, looking to make their way to this point. They want to cap it and find the finishing touches, but Kokoko is the one that's doing all the work here. Bubble comes up, even with the anti-on, doesn't matter. They've got that placement perfect and protected the team at the same time. Diva dives on to try and stall. They got the bomb to zone out. The team do have the movement though to get away, not too worried about it. The stall here is going to be slow and steady. They do have a couple coming back in and with the sustain, but they actually get rid of the healer, which means McCree has to be the man to try and stop it. Getting the monkey back onto this back line could be good as well. It will buy them some time, but when their supports are getting bullied like that, they have nothing to live with. Jasta just tears them apart.
I mean, what can you do once the rest of the team is on the point and Jasta's just raining bullets into the Johnsons? There's not... Yeah, that as soon as Pride were able to get their hands onto the point, it was basically curtains from there. So it was really unfortunate, but a pretty good defense for one that was basically over, especially in point A, immediately. There is 2 minutes and 34 seconds, though, of full cap. And defensively, though, I think we all know what they're going to run now. It's Team Pride. It's not going to take too much of a Sherlock look in, so they'll probably be holding either right at the back, top left if you're looking towards attacker spawn, or they'll be holding right if you're looking again towards attacker spawn closer to the mega. Attacking, however, this is different. We actually haven't seen this comp. They're going to try something a lot different actually from what we've seen. No more monkey, instead we're going for that Reinhardt, so they're actually going to do the rotation that I was suggesting earlier, hopefully at least, because you certainly do not want to try and just muscle your way straight forward unless you can have something like a Symmetra.
Yeah, you're right. They'd have to play pretty clever around that telly as well, because they've got to be so careful about where Jas is set up. And the positioning already is so intriguing. I mean, they're always trying to find that clever line of sight. So it's going to be hard. Not going to be an easy walk-in for the Johnsons here. They do try, though, with the speed boost. They walk straight into the turret. Finds the kill, but they actually managed to get rid of Justice super quickly there. So still could be a winning fight for them.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's a really big support of the Baptiste to go down there. Like, Lucio heals can only really do so much. They might just sit and wait as, Bastion will have a longer sort of walk back time than the rest of them. But they are, I don't think they realize how quickly you've spawned, and already Jester's trying to put the damage in. Now, though, it's all up to... There's so many split fights, actually. Strange. What the hell?
Kokoko tried to jump on to get rid of the old bat, but ended up losing the fight to the D.Va there. So, not so good for them. The Johnsons managed to walk on the point here as we see Inspire trying to put some damage out, but the tick's going quickly. Has to commit to getting into the objective. As soon as he does, punished for it brutally. Johnsons completely win that battle out with some patience.
Yeah, the same patience that Pride used on their attack, they took some of that patience and used it basically against them. And I think the big pick was definitely that Bastion going down, and also Kokako just diving in and trying to take out D.Va Johnson, and they're just not really working out. So lack of main tank. Now, though, you do have the second point, point B, which is even harder than point A, especially if you're against the Bastion, who can sit right at the back where he is now, just hammering in that damage.
They got that high ground visor with the damage buff. The D.Va bomb does sneak out. Mercy only just. It must have been a pixel of the head as they try to drop away. The window goes up here on the edge, puts the value out for Beat Boop, who does get absolutely railed out there. Kokoko with the net boost on, but Johnson's just shut it down. Great play. They put in the dragons. In addition, Kokoko losing the ult. They actually have to commit their one as well to get some sustain, but the High Noon up on the top shelf here, going for the block again. Mercy having a bad time on the second push here, getting taken out the fight early. Once again, Kokoko falls. Jasta has to do so much damage right now. Ends up getting bullied to pieces. Second tick, sorry, almost second, as Crystal now has to main tank alone. The supports being the ones to stop the tick is not going to happen whatsoever, and it's a quick second point take.
That was a really quick second point take. Actually, 1 minute and 44 seconds faster. So yeah, no, really well played, especially because like we've seen how brutal the defensive Jester can be on the Bastion with the high ground, but they were able to, I think what was really crucial was the amplification matrix from Johnson on that high ground that forced Jester to get up and to move. And because of that, obviously without being in that sentry form and doing all that damage, it just allowed the Johnsons to maneuver around a lot more easily. And then the Reinhardt shatter, that was enormous. 4 members, three I think actually, went down, including the supports and of course Jester as well. So really, really well played. Now we've got Pride on the second attack. They have 2 minutes to take this. They won't be running anything different, but instead they will, the Johnsons want to be running the brawl sort of style instead of the dive like they tried before, which I think is quite a smart move, especially when you got the Baptiste in the immortality field. You've got the Hanzo as well poking away at Jester, and then finally Johnson on the McCree ready with that stun to protect the backline.
2 minutes on the clock is not a lot as well. You burn through that so quickly, so they're gonna have to be very clever. Hopefully they can get another quick push into the point.
Yeah, no, certainly you can see that they're just kind of thinking about, they're like, okay, they're playing that Reinhardt, but they're gonna dive behind immediately. But Johnson, oh damn,
getting rid of Jasta. They use the res to bring them back in, but it loses them the tank in the making, and the Johnsons are still looking solid. A great shot for Ash, who was just peeking over the top there, and Spire got their head taken off.
Yeah, no, really good shot by Johnson. The only thing, though, is that one of the Johnsons, the D.Va, is missing the mech, so potentially you might want to move on here while you don't have that defense matrix to eat up all of Jasta's bullets that are raining in. Although they've been doing really, really well here, at least towards the beginning, of keeping out the dive from Pride.
Yep, there's the attempt to push on through. Arrows from the high ground, keeping that pressure on the damage-wise. The Johnsons are pretty split here. They need to make sure their support sustain. Jasta sets up with a great position. Beat Boop to kill out their McCree means they haven't got that stun. A lot of damage removed. The Hans has to do pretty much all they want. Beat Boop popping off, commits the ult as well, but unfortunately not going to get any connection on that, as the shutdown on the Reinhardt is painful for them. Beat Boop will make their way to that point. They've just got to get rid of a couple of squishies, but the point should be theirs.
Should be there's 30 seconds remaining, and remember there's only 30 seconds now added to the point, and by the time it's capped it's probably only about 15, so add that together, 1 + 1 quick math. They will only get about 45 seconds, 40 seconds actually now, because there's actually a little bit of a contest. There you go. So really only about 30 seconds to push into a Johnson with an amplification matrix and another Johnson with a shatter, and we saw how big the shatter was last time, especially losing Crystal. That is not good.
Yeah, that's rough timing. 20 seconds now. They basically have just enough time to make it to the point, never mind make a fantastic play out of it. They're gonna have to commit the monkey jump on.
Yeah, I mean, Kokako does almost have Primal Rage as well, just to stay alive, although look how fast he just got burnt down. I don't even know if he can get it in time.
Oh, just sneaks it out with a bit of healing there from Artemis. Great use of the ults here. Everyone's committing everything into the fight all in one go. Noon takes the mech, but no other further kills as Bob finally goes down playing that back line. Jasta could make the big play here. Finds a single kill on the DPS, looking for a second. There it is. It's exactly what they need. The damage output is totally there for them. Johnsons have to get back onto the point as the final bit of the tick rolls away, and they make it happen.
They do. They actually get it in overtime. But the Johnsons do have 3 minutes and 44 seconds, so if they can cap, even with a little bit of time, it will force Pride to hold for, for that tick on point A. They will not get another chance. That's if that happens, though, because now the ball is firmly in Johnson's court of how they're going to approach their second attack here on Hanamura.
Jeez, this is like becoming more and more even as these two teams play. They're figuring each other out a little bit more each time.
Each other out.
They are, and then these fights are coming down to almost first pick or first couple of picks, and that decides it. So it's a bit of a mind game to break through these barriers. A lot of like lines of sight that are invisible lines where you once you're through it, you're good, but if you can't get past that point, you're going to struggle.
Yeah, so there's the only real switch ups to keep in mind, I suppose, is Inspire is on the Ashe this time instead of the McCree or the 76. Actually, no, it's a lie. They were playing it before. Never mind me. I guess then Johnson on the McCree. But other than that, no, it's pretty much even Stevens here. It was a very good first patient push from the Johnsons, so we'll probably see that happen again, because honestly there's no real other way than speed boosting hard right.
Yeah, Pride really got a lot on the line in this match here. They could win it all if they get some good holds going. The Pride is on the line, and look, you see the damage they're playing out here. The Dynamite, sent a little early. The positioning interesting, but Jess is just pumping through those shields there. They're going to go for the Desperation Pin. It actually bloody works for them. Holy hell, well played. Immortality Field to give them some sustain as well, so they've got the kills. They should just be able to walk towards the point here. Great Sleep Dart to get rid of the tank, but so much pressure from the Johnsons here will just keep them away from the objective, and they haven't got that staying power to kind of contest this right now.
No, that was a really, really good pin by Johnson, shutting down the Bastion instantly, and also forcing the Diva of Beat Boop into a very uncomfortable position as well, forcing the mechs basically just to explode on impact as well. But now they've got 3 minutes to attack point B. They do not have too many ults actually here, Stranger, for Pride. The only real ult to speak of is Kakako's Primal Rage perhaps, but other than that, both sides still pretty even in terms of ultimates.
Yeah, that Shadow will come on super quick though. I'm going to keep an eye out for that. Great high ground damage pressure from Inspire. Just splitting the team really as the tanks try to jump up there and keep that split going the way they want. Pin attempt doesn't quite work out for them, so Kokako keeps that damage going. tries to make the escape, but actually gets picked up on the way out. Not before the kill out onto the Diva forces the bomb into a bad position for the Johnsons, so they're going to be missing that. Another great shot from Inspire keeps that pressure on. They get bullied from the tank line. Oh, man. But you love it. Meanwhile, this is all happening. Laser beam lines coming out of Jester to just keep those tanks in check. The High Noon up top from the Johnsons gives them all the space they could need as they start capping this point now. They had all the time they needed to break through, and they finally did it. A huge take.
Wow. So they'll basically will be attacking again. The Johnsons, they'll have exactly 1 minute and 58 seconds to just take a singular tick from Hanamura, and then it is all theirs. It's been really close.
Jeez.
Third time's the charm for the defense of Pride and Jester's Bastion. I don't really agree with where they were set up, because they're always going to go hard left if you're looking towards attackers spawn onto that high ground. So it's probably best if Jester sets up on the right-hand side near the Mega, so that they can just poke and poke and poke as they very slowly sort of maneuver forward. Absolutely no changes except the 76 from Inspire from the high ground. We saw this last time. So yeah, the Johnsons, they just need to get some sort of pick, some sort of leverage over Pride. But Pride, they are looking really, really strong on their defenses so far. But can they keep it up for 2 minutes for 1 tick?
Yeah, keeping it up against the Johnsons can be really difficult sometimes. But the time is here for them, the Johnsons, to make it. And of course, what do they need? 1 tick here. It's so hard to hold off against that. They have to basically play at the point, which kind of messes with their setup that they've been liking, where they could just mix it up a bit. So let's see if the Johnsons make use of that.
Yeah, so they've got about 2 comfortable attacks. It depends if they want to kind of go at this hard and fast, or if they want to take their time. If they take their time, then they've really only got 1 really good attack in their back pocket. It seems like they will go the long way around, which is definitely the best way to go against Jester and the Bastion. They will be taking this high ground and very slowly sort of maneuvering themselves. The Winston will try and just get a little bit of tickle damage, not too much though, as they continue to reposition, slowly making their way to point. Nice little sleep though.
Yeah, they're adapting well to the wrap around, keeping that pressure on that shield as well. They want to keep Reinhardt's shield down as much as possible. They go to the lower play here. Let's see if Coco can do something great with it. They do manage to get that early window up, which could give them the winning advantage. Someone has to be on there to stall. Johnson on the Hanzo sneaks out the kill on Inspire. They absolutely trickle out multiple kills to follow out of that. That early starting kill really won it out for them. And now with Crystal trying to stall alone, the baby Diva won't have the strength to do it, and they do manage to sneak that out nicely.
Oh, we go into full 10.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do the full 10. Oh my gosh. I thought this was only possible with the Para. Clearly not. So it is 2 apiece now, and we're on to the control of either Nepal Oasis. Absolutely beautiful plays there by Johnson. They did, in fact, get the right map pick against all odds, as 2CP can be quite hard all the time against a Bastion. So fair play to them. I think they adapted extremely well, wrapping around the point the way that they did, building up Baptiste ult as well extremely quickly, and that just made it all the more harder for Pride to try and get the point back. So I think it was really well played, taking it nice and slow, and eventually being able to overcome the likes of Pride. Next map, Nepal Oasis. Right. Johnson and Pride. I think it is Pride's pick here of what they want to pick, what they want to choose. And honestly, either one kind of works for Bastion, but I'd say more Oasis than Nepal. Nepal, there's so many different sort of ways that like a tracer could come around and kill the Bastion, or you got Sanctum where you can just get poked from the other side of the map. And Bastion, they have that damage fall off that the Widow, while has a little bit, definitely not as much across the range, and the Hanzo as well, so it'd make it a little bit harder. Whereas Oasis, you get on that high ground as the Bastion a lot more easily than the maps previously. And I mean, do I even need to talk about the Brawl map where you're just sitting on the I'm going to say the right side of point, but that's just a mental image of the map I have in my head. But that high ground overlooking the point, and you just fire down. So I'd say if you were Pride, you would be looking at Oasis.
Let's see. I mean, I have to agree. I think that they can kind of both work. So anyway, yeah, they're Pride was looking really strong. I think that the Johnsons have kind of starting to figure out this whole Bastion thing, looking at some of the plays we just saw, and they're adapting well with it. You can see how they're trying to really make good use of the map geometry now. It's wrapping around those big long plays. They're not afraid to take their time. Like we were saying, they could have rushed and had 2 pushes, but instead they just took their time and did one really good one with the ults that they had and made it work, So yeah, I think that they're adapting well.
I mean, if we go back to Lijiang Tower, that was all Johnson. If you remember, that was very hard for the Bastion to sort of get a leg up. So it's definitely not far from impossible for Johnson to be able to take this one home, especially after a very convincing win 2-0 on Lijiang. So this is another control. If they can get to the point fast enough and just basically outpace Pride, they might be able to hold this one. I will say really quickly, there is a sub. Beat Boop has been subbed out for Afan. Would you say Afan?
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 Yeah.
Afan. There you go. We'll be subbed. Okay, we'll be taking a really quick break, bio break, but we'll be right back with the final between Bronze Johnsons versus Pride. Do not go anywhere. we're back, everybody, and they have chosen to pull, and by they, I mean Pride. They're going on. Again, I don't think any of my predictions, especially for these two, I'm sorry, everybody, they have not been correct, but I think I can stand behind my facts. You know, like Junkertown wasn't quite the best, but I was really, really impressed with Johnson's performance and Hanamura. So we're moving on to Sanctum. I would assume we would see from Johnson quite a pokey, at least in the DPS way, quite pokey with the Hanzo, maybe an Ash, perhaps even a Widow, but unlikely. Maybe even a McCree. On the tank side, though, maybe we stick with that Reinhardt. It seems like we are going to stick with Ryan and get that speed boost right in action. On the other side, though, it seems like Pride are going to be diving in and have Inspire still on that 76. And of course, Jester on the Bastion. The big switch up, however, though, is the Lucio Ana from Pride.
Yeah, that's well,
nope.
Of course,
speed boost out of spawn, and then immediately onto the Mercy. So yeah, now the ball actually from Affian, just to really mix up the likes, and Jester immediately gets a kill.
Good pressure right onto the Johnsons there. Taking out DPS like that and the shield really forces them right on back. Affian's having great value here on this Wrecking Ball, disrupting so well and doing their job just as needed.
Yeah, I mean, oh, no, the ball falls. But that's fine. The job was already done. The point has been capped for Pride. And now if you're the Bastion, you can sit wherever the heck you want and just poke out that Reinhardt shield. It's going to be very, very tricky. The only real way is to out-rotate, and it seems that's exactly what they're going to do.
They're using speed to their advantage as much as possible, but in the end, the counter rotation is fantastic. Crystal does go down, so the healing reduced heavily for Pride here. They do trade nicely, though, getting rid of the McCree again early in the fight. Minefield from Affian splits the team in two. Great positioning, and it causes Reinhardt to get absolutely rolled out. Affian's doing great with this Wrecking Ball. Disruption is really the key to helping them set up this Bastion again.
Because now the focus of Johnson, especially on Hanamura, was like, okay, if we get all we have to focus on really, nothing else is a threat other than Jester. But now because you've got the ball in your back line, constantly being annoying, constantly trying to get those, pop-ups and frags, it makes it harder and harder for all that focus to be on Jester. There has been a little bit of a switch up, however, quite a big one, but I won't go into it now.
Already, it's working well for them. Kokoko goes down, stun with the Discord Orb, ends Affian quickly. So there's that counter play straight off the bat. This leaves just the DPS and supports to try and hold off this cap onto the point.
Yeah, and you've got double supports of Zen and Brig again. So the Discord Orb falling onto Jester, trying just to kill him as fast as possible. But instead, it's a Johnson that falls.
Jester gets most of their ult eaten there, but actually still managed to sneak a kill out of it. Beautiful. The Dragons clipping a couple wings there on their way through. Shuts down. 3 in the end will fall. Artemis gets the res to bring Inspire back in to try and keep some form of damage, but the convert happens at 97%. They're probably best off here, Pride, to just regroup.
Oh, yeah, indeed. And especially if the supports can get, the Crystal, get their ult onto someone like Kokako to dive in onto the Zen. Although we have seen it, Johnson can perfectly look after themselves. They've almost got the Transcendence on board as well.
Yeah, they've definitely got good supports for looking after each other. Kokoko does get their nano as we expected. The visor will come up as well. Forces the tranquility out from the Zen on Johnson's side, but still a kill is found through the visor. Beautifully timed on that. Tranquility couldn't quite cover it up. Johnson damage, pretty decent. They get rid of both tanks. The res brings one back in. They use the High Noon, but not to a lot of value. So at the moment, Pride really having all the value they could want. Overtime is in play, forcing that Wrecking Ball to come onto the objective and do something with it. They are winning out this battle slowly. The sleep dart in the minefield, but unfortunately, Bastion doesn't move, so he doesn't actually get hurt by it at all, as this overtime still being played out here. Appian does shut down a great stun, huge value. The Dragons again to be put into their back to shut down the Bastion attempt. Kills going both ways, but still overtime trickling in. They are stopping this from happening. They have to try and use this ult from Bastion to stop it all. The Diva bomb goes wide. It finds the kill on Jester as well. The stall continues.
It certainly does, and now it's only up to the tanks of Johnson as the rest of the team are trying to come back desperately. It's a tank v tank, but there is a Mercy in play, and it does give them a little bit of the edge, but not without Kakako falling.
Still somehow stalling this without the convert. They use a Noon here to absolutely zone it out to get their convert finally. Ooh. And they find a kill out of it.
That's actually really big. That just buys that little bit more time. And the only trouble is now quite rough supports for the side of the Johnsons. You got the Lucio. Of course, you have to go loose and incredible stalls because of it. But now, you know, if Kakako and Appian decide to dive onto the Johnson of Zenyatta, it's going to be a lot harder to peel.
Jester gets set up again. Even with the poke, not a problem. That Johnson Wrecking Ball does go down, which means Appian can play as they want. Ends up going down to the bottom of the well. They just thought it'd be fair to balance things out and get rid of both Wrecking Balls, I guess. Jester melts through Tracer there without a problem. The Visor to come up as well. Nano boost on the Monkey. They're putting all their damage on the plate right now. Another character to fall down to the bottom of the pit as the convert for Red looking to take it back before it gets that 99%. Great zoning out here from Kokako. Absolutely getting rid of them off the objective as quick as possible to try and get the convert back. The stall for Blue really being effective here. They haven't let it go back into overtime.
There's also mines now on point from Appian, so it makes it even harder to try and approach. And finally, if you were Pride, the point goes their way, 98% to 100. Very, very close. These next couple of maps, though, if you're lucky and you can get like sort of the right picks, you can I think counter Jester a little bit more easily. There's many you can go left or right side of the point to try and just outmaneuver Jester, but he was just left alone and free, especially towards the end there, despite like the beautiful Diva bomb that was just solely to get Jester. You know, once that man is set up on point, it's very hard to try dislodge him. And then Inspire, they have been exceptional with their tack visors as well. So much pressure onto the point. On the other side though, Johnson, it's definitely winnable, but already a ball is on point, putting pressure on the Reinhardt.
Yeah, Pride want to play to this advantage. They got that one in the bag, and they're looking to seal the deal here and take the whole thing. Great early kill there from Jester as well, getting rid of the McCree. No stun to deal with at the objective, gives Wrecking Ball a lot of freedom to roll around, as well as the Monkey to dive in. Great Sleep Dart to take that Diva out of action for just a moment. That allows Jester's damage to just rain through uninterrupted, putting so much pressure on the Johnson Reinhardt shield. Artemis actually gets himself a kill there onto the Hanzo. That's pretty hot. And the res onto Inspire.
That's pretty hot. Thank you, Stranger. Very cool. It seems like it actually went the way of Johnson, despite the pick onto the McCree of Johnson very early into that fight. I think it was just purely Reinhardt Johnson was able just to play around that pillar, play around natural cover, not give an inch to Jester, who I think I've been calling Jester the entire time. But that is okay, as another dive comes through.
Yeah, Kokako wants to get that Hans off the high ground, and it's done exactly as they need to. Inspire with some great tracking, hits the headshot. Lucio out the fight, get rid of some healing, make this push a little bit more difficult. They can't rotate as easily, so they counter with the Dragons. Johnson's looking to split them, but they were already dropping from that high ground anyway, so it's worked well for Pride here as they rotate around. Inspire's looking for that angle to make it happen. Great dive on to get rid of the McCree. They get bullied out as well themselves, as the rest of the team still trying at that point. 56% here for the Johnsons though.
No, they've actually been able to hold it really, really well. And with ultimates coming up, oh, hang on a second. That's actually a really big pick. That's No More Bat, which is all the source of healing practically. And now they're just going to go in.
Yeah, it's exactly what Pride needs to do. The counter play from the Rhine shatters the nanoed monkey. The minefield dropping on them, though, does not lead them to have a very fun time, though. Jas is trying to get rid of that Diva at the back line, who's really punching through the team, but getting bullied themselves now. At 83%, the convert will happen, but they got a lot of catching up to do here, Pride.
No, yeah, they do. Quite a big uphill battle, but it's not impossible. Jasta does have the mech, sure. No, the tank. And you see, again, the Winston, like we saw from last map, very cheeky positioning there. Immediately does duck out. Inspire, they probably will pop tack visor. Oh, there you go.
Oh, Inspire catching out Hanzo without the shield barrier or anything. As the rest of the Johnsons group up at that high ground, get a little bit bullied here. They know they're not going to be left to just sit there for free.
No, indeed. You've always got that Winston on top of them, and losing mech is really, really hard too. And then Johnson also flows, but you just got to run here. Although that's a nice little pick, probably will get rezzed up. Now you're hitting that 50% halfway mark. There are a couple of ults though that Johnson can use towards the end. They've got the support ults in the bank, and they've also got both DPS, excuse me. And then on the side of Pride, you have still got Jasta, so it's going to be hard for someone like McCree to make any sort of like high noon picks, because you got to stand so still while that happens. But here we go, amplification matrix as well.
Yeah, but Jas has already pumped out the damage. Huge kills on 2 key targets. They follow up with a third, keeping that damage rolling as the rest of the team get a piece of the pie as well. They've completely shut down the push.
Completely, and now it's 80%. This is business time now. You've got Johnson, the one with the Lucio, does have the beat to try and keep the rest of the team alive, especially when there's no DPS ults really in play from Pride. And then Artemis will hopefully be keeping the rest of the team alive if you're on side of Pride. But here comes the beat immediately.
Dragons with the beat, the minefield played in. Surely the Johnsons don't go limp at this last hurdle. They cannot afford to give this point over at all, as the overtime now in the winning category for Pride. They have the map advantage as well, so the visor from Inspire could completely win this fight out. Coco doing well to split them apart, but the Johnsons still hanging around on that point. The visor does get rid of a key target. They get rid of Coco, but the trade up, the shutdown. Oh man, the crush onto Inspire just removes a huge hazard, and they do get the convert here. Could this be theirs?
Yeah, I think that Johnson's hope has reinflated, but that's a double slam down, and then Mine's on point. It's going to be quite hard. 95%, Stranger. It is ticking up. 3 seconds to touch point here. There's Lucio still alive there with the beat nearly, but here comes the last and final dive.
Double overtime territory. You love to see it. The Johnsons trying to keep the pressure on. Shatter does not connect for the Johnsons. That is unfortunate. Sleep Dart puts a bit of pressure on them as Coco with the nano boost keeps it going strong on that front line. Immortality Field is really doing a lot to keep the sustain on these teams. Another quick dragon puts the pressure on the point to get Pride off of it for just enough. It is just enough.
Oh, it is just enough. Of course, we're doing all 3 maps. No,
of course.
I think one of my fellow casters of Pyro just messaged me. It's the Papadaka curse. No, I think it's a Papadaka blessing. We get really, really close matches throughout the whole tournament. Anyway, we are on to our final map. All Johnsons on the table now, as this is do or die. Pride now, everything is on the line, and it seems like we're going to run exactly what we saw in the previous maps, and I think it's all down to, can they take out Jasta as fast as possible, or will they rotate directly to point? Well, it looks like Pride will take the high ground instead.
Yeah, I think that's usually the smarter play, but this might just put them off. They actually do manage to leverage it well and get Affian before the rest of the team can kind of get there to assist. They have forced out the res, essentially. Monkey trying to play some aggression as well, but gets picked out. This is not good for them to start.
No, that was an unfortunate dive there from Pride. Kokako did get just picked out there and then made sure that they could not escape anytime soon. There's the pick onto Jasta. I don't think there's a res available either, so that's again just another stagger. And they're still going to dive though. Beautiful boot. They actually might be able to get Kakako because of that boot from the D.Va.
Oh man, another push just completely shut down before it even begins.
Oh yeah, that's easily another 15% now while they wait for their monkey to come back, and they're just discussing how they're going to come back onto this high ground. They do have Inspire though with the high noon. They might be able to utilize that, and Crystal is getting ever so close to a nano.
Jessa finding a good line of sight, gets given the bubble for some protection. I love the positioning from Johnson's here. They just know they can't give that at all. Affian trying to disrupt them a bit by booping them around to make that not such a strong fact, but they've got the quick dragon there and they shut down Affian, so still in great control of these battles.
Yeah, Hanzo Johnson has been playing really, really well of just constantly putting pressure on both tanks here. It's been really, really hard. And then you've also, on top of that, got Johnson, the D.Va, just always on top of Kakako, making sure that they don't have any free space.
Here we go. D.Va bomb straight to the sky, picking up a crucial support. They follow up with a great fire strike to take Jazzer out, so all that damage removed. They have to commit. Monkey with the ult here, the high noon. Could have some value if they find the lines of sight, but they just don't manage to do it. They res Crystal back in here, but is that going to be enough when you've lost that front line? Inspire's really looking to find these kills here at 90% already. It just really climbs up when you can't get into contest at all. They start to get a little bit of point presence, but with this Reinhardt right here, they're going to roll themselves up to 99 in the middle of the fight.
Yeah, they're going to be able to, but Jasta has the tank, so it's all or nothing.
Oh.
Here comes what you're calling a 4K, but that's a massive pick. That's the Winston down.
Oh, they lose their tank line. The pressure's off. The tank doesn't get the damage. Dragon splits across the lane. That overtime trickles. No one will touch it. The Johnsons have bloody done it.
Johnsons came out and did it.
Oh, they're going to have to upgrade to the Silver Johnsons because tonight they put on a bloody performance.
On a incredible show. GG's Johnson. That was, there we go. Hanzo, the Johnson one.
Definitely.
Fantastic job towards the end there. Constantly putting that pressure onto the Bastion and onto, I mean, that Mercy there. That dragon was just beautiful. Nobody could touch point into that. What the heck?
Look at that. Jeez. They played that map to perfection there, that round. And for that, I applaud them.
No, really, really well played. Pride put on an incredible showing, but Bronze Johnson were just able to take it out. Bronze Johnson taking Lijiang Tower, Pride able to take the maps of Hollywood and Junkertown, and then finally bring it home. The Bronze Johnsons somehow winning out a very tough Hanamura battle, and then with the Nepal and the control. Beautiful plays all around. MVP really quickly, Stranger.
Oh, I mean, it has to be Johnson, right?
Yeah, that's true. I really enjoyed the way that Johnson played during that entire match, and I hope that they have a very big career ahead of them. No, but honestly, GG's. Just really quickly, tonight's scores. They were, we had Ableton Envy versus Lag. Chimera with Envy losing out to Chimera 3-2. And then we just had the match of Bronze Johnsons versus Pride, and the Johnsons just coming out on top. Both were extremely close matches, 3-2. We have so many people to thank that are behind the scenes of this production here at AOE. We have event producers in AOEsports of Bloodborne, Gat, and myself, Pap, and on Koala Esports side, we've got Sdogga and Bees. Event coordinators were myself, who annoy you in mod mail, and Sdogga. You've got the streamer, the man behind it, just giggling the whole time. It's been fantastic. Love him to bits. Gat. You've had the casters of myself and Stranger. I hope you've had an absolute blast. We certainly have. The stream technical assistants have been Gat Temporalic and Sdogga Man. And a massive, massive thank you to our patrons. Thank you so much. Without your support to AOE and to Koalas Esports, we simply could not have these tournaments. So thank you so much. And an extra special thank you to the entire AOE community, myself, KE as a whole, and their community, the players that played tonight and put on a fantastic show. Stranger and I just absolutely loving it. Even in the breaks, we were talking about it. And everybody in the chat going off. Thank you so much for all your support for watching this stream. Stranger, any last words?
No, I had a great time. That was a really, really fun match there at the end. The Johnsons made that a comedic goal for us, so appreciate that. But fantastic play as usual. I love these OCE players, just really bringing the middle, so always fun to cast them.
So thank you so much, everybody, for joining, and we will catch you in the next one in a week. Stay hydrated. Goodbye.